we begin, I just want to congratulate Harvey and his wife Georgina on the birth of their new baby boy.
Thank you.
Harvey gave us just what we needed, another hymn.
How come all the films they made when I was younger, they never make today? Thinking about how they ever wrote Tropic Thunder with an actor in blackface. Now it's all about the message and political correctness. Even all the Marvel movies are a bummer today. But I know Hollywood's secret, and boy, you better believe they no longer make entertainment. The goal is indoctrinating, lecturing on moral issues while they cover for the fake news. I know Hollywood's secret. They hate people just like you. Yeah! And they hate your values too. Yeah! They hate everything you do. Social messaging just keeps on getting younger and younger by the day. Gotta raise your family inside a concrete bunker just to keep your children safe. Propaganda celluloid. Gotta tune out all the noise. Pedophilia's now mainstream at the Oscars. Call me by your name. I know Hollywood's secret. And boy, you better believe films like Women Talking and She Said are filled with hypocrisy while they preach and cry and pander. Casting couches were the standard. I know Hollywood's secret. They detest people like you. Yeah! And they hate your values too. Yeah! They loathe everything you do. I know Hollywood's secret. And boy, you better believe they will whine about the injustice at every turn they see. But they're friends with Harvey Weinstein and in bed with Jeffrey Epstein. I know Hollywood's secret. They don't care about abuse. I know Hollywood's secret. And boy, you better believe they don't care about entertainment, only diversity. Lecturing on moral issues, running cover for the fake news. I know Hollywood's secret. They don't care for me and you. In a world of remakes and remasters,
are we playing your
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame. Gone are the days of Paz and Cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot. Hello, and welcome back to the show, everyone. This is Best Gen, where nerds complain about nerdy things. It's called Best Gen because we all happen to be from the same gen, roughly, and we happen to think that it's the best of the gens. Not because we as people are better than you, but because our entertainment was. So grab your bowls of popcorn or your headphones if you're watching from work. I'm looking at you, Mark, and prepare to wax nostalgic as we reminisce on the days of yore whilst suffering through the cliches and blatant lies and disgusting things of Hollywood today. So how's it going, everybody?
Good.
Joined by my brother David. He's got a channel, Shelf Help Gaming. If you like that kind of gay stuff, go sub. Joined by my cousin Jared on the couch. We'll have more guests will saunder on in as it fancies them to deign ourselves with their presence. I think I'm using that word correctly. But yeah, it's Sunday, and that means I get to talk to my best friends.
Oh. Man, I don't know how we can follow that up. Oh man.
Now's the part where you can tell me how great my song parody is.
I love your song parodies.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
We listen to it like twice a day. It's so flippin' brilliant. You know what's funny about that? As I heard the original song, but your version follows the syllables better than the original.
That's called cadence, David.
Yeah.
There are several lines in the original song where the cadence is flubbed. It's forced,
which is
in
fine.
There.
It's a popular thing to do.
No shade on Jax.
But...
I think the original song is a great song with a great message. And all musicians all musicians have to flub lyrics and put emphasis in the wrong place to get things to work. It just so happens that it worked out.
It's just it fits so perfectly. I can't think of the original lyrics anymore.
Yeah.
Every single time the tune pops in my head, it's your lyrics.
Yep.
It's so good.
Yeah. You made a point though during the song. It really isn't a secret anymore. Like Disney came out and said, yes, we have a not so secret gay agenda. This is what we're doing to your kids.
Do you see that comment? Because it disappeared in the chat.
Oh, it did?
Mm-hmm. I can see it in
it did disappear.
In the streaming app, but on YouTube it's gone.
No, it's gone.
Are you looking on YouTube or the
yeah, stream? It's not on YouTube, but it's here.
Yeah. Oh, I can see it here, yeah.
David got censored on his own podcast.
I'm telling you, I've seen weird stuff lately.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm literally in the settings right now, and I have everything disabled. Like I don't censor comments, but YouTube just does it anyway sometimes.
It's really weird. I've been commenting on the wrong channels apparently. I'm on a list.
Well, I've left up some very hateful comments, and oh boy, I've gotten some comments this week.
Really?
Well, with
birthday week?
My birthday week. This week. Okay, I know it's cliche at this point. I'm sick again. I hate kids. Don't have kids. Okay. I have a cold. Like it's something weird going on. But on top of that, a cold, which I'm pretty much over it now, but like on the tail end. But this has been like one of the most productive weeks I've ever had. I got a lot of work done. Didn't get a whole lot of the house cleaned, but got a lot of work done.
Usually one or the other, yeah.
Yeah, I had the Teen Mando squad. I had the music video, and then I had shorts. That's a lot of work. I wrote the song in a day. It was Tuesday, and it was like I had the idea in my head of changing
Hollywood Secret, but I hadn't like developed it at all. I wasn't thinking about the lyrics or anything. It was just pretty much, oh, that would fit well. If I know Hollywood Secret, they like bad things, and it was actually Jared's fault. Other Jared, beardless.
Oh, okay, I was like,
We talked about the Little Mermaid casting, and he said,
oh.
you don't know their intentions, and I'm like, yes, I do. I'm like, how can we not know? Like, the pattern has been established for so long. It's silly to say that I don't know what they're doing, and I'm like, yeah, and ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. I know, and so I wrote the song out of spite. And I probably should have shared the story for when Jared's here. But I wrote this song literally just to spite Jared.
That's hilarious.
No, but the idea had been simmering. But I literally sat down Tuesday, or I guess went Monday night, and finished the music video at like 6 o'clock in the morning. So that was
Good stuff.
Well, you did a heck of a job. It's been going through my mind all freaking day, evening, night for the past week. Like, I'm like, dude, I can't remember the original lyrics to the song. Like when me and you went out to shooting, I totally spaced that it was another song. And then when you told me, I was like, oh yeah, there is that song.
It's a parody, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you said it's a parody. I was like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. But like your song it was so much better. What are some of the hateful comments you've had? I want to know.
Hey, I could pull them up. Well, I wouldn't be able to show them on stream. It'll take a second for me to. Yeah. Well, I've gotten comments saying, "Oh, I got one comment that literally just admits what the point of the song is." They're like, "We're going after your children so that they don't end up as racist bigots like you." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I wrote the song, because you're coming after my children." Look, and we talked about this last time. The week ended with all my videos getting ad restricted. By the way,
because of this song, really?
And some other things. So what happened is last week this stream got ad restricted because we said pedophile so many times.
Yeah.
we said it a lot.
Because it's true, but go on, yeah.
Yeah, but in talking about The Last of Us, I was worried. But I appealed it and it went through. So that wasn't a problem.
When you said we were saying that pedophiles are bad and evil.
Let's not get this one age restricted too. Yes. It's bad, guys. We were talking about how bad it is. YouTube.
Wait, are we allowed to say minor attracted persons? Isn't that the political? Is that not going to get you in trouble? We can do that.
I think you're allowed to say it, but I don't think you're allowed to say that they're bad because they're protected class or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so that got ad restricted, but that passed. It's done now. And then one of the shorts where I talked about how I'm not a bigot got ad restricted because it has a certain symbol in the thumbnail, which was part of the meme that I was criticizing. You know, it's like an X turned on its side, and I don't want to say it. But it was in the thumbnail because, well, what's stupid is you can be demonetized for images that appear in your thumbnail and for the content in the video. What's stupid is that YouTube doesn't let you change thumbnails on shorts. They pick the thumbnail for you. They just scrub the video and pick a random frame. So how are you supposed to fix that? YouTube's. So that got demonetized, and then the whole video was like, hey, look, these are my personal beliefs. I do not hate the individuals. I love the individuals. I have several friends who are part of the community. Okay, not the map community. But I have several. I'm on good terms with these people because a lot of people are smart and realize, hey, these are my personal beliefs. I don't hold it against the person. I hate the sin, not the sinner. Okay, and that's not bigotry. I feel like that's very reasonable. That's not. If you think that's bigotry, you need to look up the definition of bigotry. and change your lifestyle because you guys might actually be the real bigots. So
all they do is when you bring up the right point, they just change the
But-
definition on you, so you can't
but
use it. I mean,
after those two got demonetized, my two yesterday's videos all got demonetized, and they're just shorts. And for the life of me, I cannot. I've gone through all of YouTube's guidelines and watched the videos.
I'm filling up a water bottle, David. I saw those eyes. I saw those eyes.
I was wondering, man.
I'm filling up here. My phone. It's my stupid phone. That's
Don't turn the video on.
the issue. There. See, look. Water bottle being
don't point
filled.
it down.
Water bottle being filled. I didn't think my microphone would catch it.
Oh my god!
It was loud. That was all it usurped the entire audio of the stream. That's all we could hear.
Water bottle being filled. Maybe I shouldn't have turned my video on. Just left it
As
as a
we're talking
mystery.
about demonetized, Corwin whips his junk out.
I was filling up a water bottle.
Anyway, so all of the shorts that I uploaded after that, they all got ad restricted for no reason. Like so I've appealed them all. Oh, one of them actually just went through, but half of them are still have limited ads, and there's no way that they can uphold that decision because we don't swear. But one of them had a clip of Donald Trump saying "You are fake news," so that's probably why that happened. Anyway.
Fake news.
It's been a week. But oh shoot, you wanted the comments. That's what I got distracted. I've got a lot of hateful things off of the music video, but also the short where we talked about the Bella Ramsey wearing a binder on set, because I talked about how dangerous it is, and I got a lot of people really, really upset in that one. Probably my most disliked video, but hey, it got like 2,000 views. And so I just pretended I used their arguments against them, and I was like, "What? No, I'm just talking about how dangerous it is. I'm trying to help these people." I'm like, "Oh, I'm so." I got someone to apologize. It was pretty funny.
Nice.
Anyway, it's been a crazy week. I wasn't planning on watching 65, so don't feel bad if you're like, "Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do that homework." But Corwin texted me saying, "Hey, I just came out of the theater," and it was Tuesday, and Tuesday is like cheap day at the theater. So I'm like, I need a break. I've been working crazy hard.
That's
Close the
the
door here.
65 million years or whatever.
Yeah, 65 million years, which I will say, and Chris Gore, he's a great guy on YouTube. He said the same thing, and I have the same criticism that he had. The fact that the movie is called 65 is a huge spoiler. It's a huge spoiler. It should not be named that. It should have a different name.
It does seem like in the trailers too, it gives away that idea of like he's confused because he doesn't get where he's at.
The movie would have been so much more satisfying if you didn't know that going in, and it was like, it could have been a crazy big reveal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thanks for. Hey. How's it going? I'll tell the story again. They were asking. The best question you can ask a creative is, how do you get your ideas? Which my sister called me up and asked, "Oh, where do you get your ideas from?" And so I truthfully, and I already told the story on stream, Jared, that I wrote the song "Hollywood Secret" out of spite because of you. because of the discussion we had last week.
Yeah. No, I hear you,
where you said you don't know what they're thinking. I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I got it figured out. I actually really did enjoy that though. That was a very well done bit.
Extremely well done.
Yep.
Here we go. Yeah, it was positive. Also, despite all of the negative comments and the people who said horrible things to me, I got like 30 new subscriptions this week, and that so
Oh, nice. You can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Already. Okay, I was having issues with the mic.
We can hear you now.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, barely
yeah. Someone commented on Hollywood Secret The problem is capitalism, not wokeness. Which doesn't make, because Hollywood they're bleeding money. Like, they're not making money off of these movies. So it's not capitalism, guys. They're specifically working against their better interests to insert woke. So that makes no sense.
Yeah.
If Disney was a fiduciary, they would have been sued.
Yeah, they could be sued by their shareholders. Yeah, if they were in a different situation. Where's the one? Times are racist. That one got ad restricted. Yeah, one of my shorts just didn't hit the algorithm at all. It has 10 views because everything got age restricted. I'm trying to find the comment. Here we go. That's the one. Sorry, the problem is I'm multitasking, and you asked a question. We got called. Okay, here's the best one. So this is on the Bella Ramsey short. For everyone that found this video, welcome to the Incel Uncle Central, the IUC. And my response was, yes, ad hominem, I know thee well. Also, be more accurate. Most of the cast is married with kids. And then that person came back and apologized because of my responses to other comments where I just like use their arguments against them. It's like, hey, I saw you reply to another comment addressing ignorance, and I didn't know you were talking about the dangers of wearing a binder for so long. So I'm sorry.
Jesus.
Like, but if you watch the show, I'm clearly also making fun of Bella Ramsey.
Yeah.
But I'm also addressing how dangerous it is, which is why I thought it was an important video. Binders can cause severe, permanent damage. They're very dangerous to wear.
Wait, what's a bander? Like the thing that they put on their tatas?
Yep.
It straps you down.
It squishes it so makes you look like you don't have any. Yes.
We were covering an article where Bella Ramsey wore a binder 90% of the time she was on set for The Last of Us, so that she could get into character, which just doesn't make sense.
Know that she has many.
Yeah.
Why are you hiding, girl?
But anyway,
and I realized I missed one of my favorite parts of the game that isn't in the show, which I don't know why it isn't in the show. Is when Ellie shoots her first person, when she shoots the first person ever who's trying to kill Joel.
Her best friend.
What was that?
Isn't the show the second episode? No, third
episode. The first person she kills is her lesbian lover.
No, fourth episode.
No, so this is in the show. It's the scene in the show. It's the scene where they had just entered that city and they got ambushed, and the guy's on top of Joel and he has his rifle and he's like on top and he's choking.
But there's something else with it that you missed.
Yeah, so and that's the part in the movie when she walks up and shoots the guy in the back, and then she's just kind of like, well, in the game.
And they cut away, like that's what you would want to see, but okay.
Right. In the game, I totally it's like a really funny moment, but it's also in like an extremely dark way. So in the game, she walks up, Joel's getting choked out. He's actually in a puddle of water, like in 1.5 feet of water. The guy's holding Joel's head underwater, and Joel's about to die. And she walks up and shoots the guy.
That's a good way to kill Bruce Willis.
Side note.
She walks up and shoots the dude in the head, and Joel comes up, and her exact comment is, "I shot the out of that guy, didn't I?" And but she says it in such a way that it's like how a teenager would react to a super traumatizing moment, especially Ellie, since she's been just kind of sarcastic the whole time, but you could tell it was like serious for her. I don't know why they didn't put that in the show. It was
so funny.
In the game, it's like funny but very dark, and you can also tell like something changed in her. Like they did a really good with like the animation and stuff. And I rewatched and I was like, man, that isn't in the scene. No, that's too bad.
Yeah, and that even kind of fits with the sort of things that they were trying to do with her in that moment of like her being snarky and but then like snarking, but in a way that you can tell that it affected her.
Yeah. You could YouTube it, just be like Ellie shot out of that guy, and it'll be a short like 10-second thing, and you'll be like, that's really good. But they didn't do it that way.
I just put that in the show more on the change on the effect that it had on her rather than her snarkiness at that point, because they talked about it in the after a little bit. But I agree that would have been better. Yeah, I think that would have been good.
Yeah, that would have made more sense, her being snarky and witty and being an asshole basically.
Yeah.
Before we get into The Last of Us, really quickly, the last comment I'll share, or the hateful comment, was the common thread in the mean comments was calling me out for referring to Bella Ramsey as a she. When she's non-binary. Like half the comments are like, the actress is non-binary, then why are you calling them a she? And I knew this beforehand. I'd read it in an article. She goes by all pronouns.
Yeah,
and
she doesn't care what pronouns anyone.
So that was
uses.
my response to all of those. I'm like, I was like, do your research, you bigot.
She they.
I knew I was going to get called out for it, and so I called them out for it.
As far as I'm concerned, it's she they.
I'm more educated than you. I'm more sensitive.
Well, I have to admit, I didn't know that. So
I only learned about it like probably this last week.
Only bigots don't know that. I did. I was being respectful.
I didn't realize I was a bigot. I'm sorry.
Let's talk about the.
Don't apologize.
Well, you're white, Jared. You're white.
So the season finale for The Last of Us. The season finale for The Last of Us, I thought totally sucked. And the problem is, and I said this would be the problem going into it. Obviously, we're building up to this decision that Joel has to make where it's revealed, hey, in order to get the cure out of the girl, she has to die because it's in her brain and we have to cut it out. And then he makes the decision to murder everyone involved to save her life. And that would have been a heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching, awesome, powerful moment to have in a finale if we cared about Ellie. And I do not care about her character in the show. And so the moment was hollow and had the opposite effect because it makes Joel look like he's making the wrong decision. So I hate it.
So, as somebody who was kind of not with you in the whole like, I'm not attached to Ellie. I wasn't too attached to her as much as I probably should have been. But honestly, like I kind of agree with you, but more because I, in general, like I think even in the game, even attached to Ellie, I'd have struggled with that decision. I don't know if I'd have been able, because my mindset, this is me, armchair quarterbacking, whatever you want to call it, from this decision. That's a tough decision to make. That's not a decision that I like.
It's supposed to be a tough decision.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, and this was a situation where, like, in general, like, maybe you just let her know rather than keeping it a secret from her. But like, even if I was attached to her, I'd have still felt like I don't think he's making the right choice. Like, and I get why he makes the choice. I'm not trying to pretend like, especially the way that it's supposed to be set up for the game, how like he is seeing her now as a parent to a child, and as a parent to a child. It doesn't mean that whether or not it's the right decision. That's still the decision they'll probably make. I get that.
It's supposed to be a horrible decision in the games too. Like the point of the games is it's presenting this nihilistic worldview of, I'm not, even though this could save the world. Like it's I've given up on the world. The world doesn't need to be saved. I'm choosing to save this girl because she's my daughter.
Yeah. So,
which I think it's also, I think you're supposed to kind of feel in the games that it's the wrong decision, but you're also supposed to have that connection where, like, it's supposed to be a tortured decision where both choices are bad and both options are wrong. And in the show, I'm just let her die. And and it has to do with how it not just how I dislike the actress. It has to do with how she's written, and we've talked about this the entire show. She's swearing left and right. She's not a good person. She's rude to everyone. She's standoffish, and we had the discussion about how that can be a believable person, but it's not that people like that can't exist. It's that people like that aren't interesting and aren't worth saving. Now, contrast that. Wouldn't it, if you're going to have this girl go through all of this suffering, wouldn't it be so much more interesting if she started off sweet and innocent, and then by the last in the season finale, she turns jaded because of all of this crap? But the problem is she starts off jaded, so there's no room to grow.
You could go the other way.
And even if you're going, but we know they're not going the other way, Jared, because we know how The Last of Us, what The Last of Us 2 is about, her falling off the deep end and going on a murderous rampage in revenge. I won't tell you why, but most of us already know why. Okay?
I think I've figured out.
So the whole point of the second book is that she falls into darkness, which won't be effective if she was never endearing. I think that's incredibly interesting storytelling, to take someone sweet and follow their journey into darkness. But if you take someone dark and follow them being an asshole the whole time, that's not interesting.
And that's something that, again, the game does very well.
The game does extremely well.
When Joel and Ellie go through this whole trial thing, yeah, she is snarky, but she's a 13, 14-year-old girl, very innocent in a world of death. And by the end of the show, especially with all the stuff that happens in with the evil pastor, I'll just put it that way.
For those who showed up late, our last stream got demonetized because we said the P word so many times.
Oh, really?
I was figuring out. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, okay, this is gonna get.
It was upon an appeal, but it's one of our least viewed podcasts because the algorithm was not pushing it.
Just anyway, yeah, I won't say any more on that one. But in the game, like she goes from just kind of a snarky, witty, but very innocent girl. Essentially the Ellie you see in episode 1, where they go in, or maybe episode 2, I can't remember, when they go into the building and she sees the piano and then that like skeleton comes up out of the water and it freaks her out. Like you get a lot of that throughout the game, and then she really starts to change around the time Henry and her brother in that area of the story. That's when she really starts to change, and then her transformation to a more survivalist person.
I'm sure that happens while Joel is injured. She has to step up and.
Correct. And the game does a very good job endearing you to Ellie and showing her transformation.
Yeah.
Almost like Carl in The Walking Dead. I mean, I don't know if that's going a long time back, but you take Carl from The Walking Dead in season 1 and 2, and he goes from a little boy to essentially a man. And then when they get into when they get into Alexandria and he's playing with other kids that are his age, they're like, hey, do you want to play some video games? And he's just totally like, this is
why. Yeah, he's grown.
What? Yeah,
and that
game
work.
Does the same thing with Ellie, and they didn't do that very well here in the show.
Yeah, no, it didn't even work with the episode where she has to fend for herself, because they'd already showed her being, I'm so capable, I can do anything. I'm a strong, independent woman who don't need no man. And so there's no growth. It could have been a great moment where, hey, now I have to step up and now I have to do all this by myself. But she was already, I'm so important.
I disagree. I think I disagree to a certain extent. I think that they tried to cover the same sort of change and development that Corwin was mentioning. I think they may have been able to do more of, the fun-loving, joke-telling Ellie a little bit more, I think. Because like you do see that progression, right? Like as soon as we were just talking about it, how she kills that guy the first time she shoots someone, right? And then she's like, "Oh, like this is real. Like I just
Yeah.
killed someone, right?" Well, there is this progression, but I think the problem is
Yeah,
that you don't see as much of the fun loving that's in between all the stuff.
That's the point. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're trying to show progression.
You see a
and
little bit of it.
It's failing because that moment where she shoots the guy for the first time is preceded by her sadistically torturing a zombie with a knife.
But I would say with that part that I think that wasn't as successful because they were really driving this idea of, oh, can I have a gun? Can I have a gun? Can I have a gun? Rather than being like, oh, what are we doing out here? Like, trying to have fun with it, and then she having to grab a gun to save his life. And so I think that part in particular is like, oh, okay, she finally got her gun, rather than oh, she got a gun and had to defend herself.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with Jared in terms of that, like it wasn't as effective as I think it could have been, and as you guys look at it being from the game. But I do think that it still did come across in that way. And I even feel like, as we've talked a little bit more about the finale, like I feel like I got out of this episode, out of the finale, what you guys got out of the game in terms of like, this is just an awful choice. And for me, it wasn't lacking an attachment to her. It was just, this is an awful choice. So like, I don't know, it didn't hit me as bad that like, oh, this didn't reach as good as the game. Although I can agree that from what you guys described, that the stuff that the game does could have made it better. But the game's a different medium, and there's more time. Like if you look at the cutscene video of the game, it's way longer than the 9 hours, 10 hours that this was.
Yeah, obviously
there
the
has to
game
be some
has
cutting
more
down.
time, and my point is that the show isn't using the time that it does have wisely.
No, I get that. For me, it's not. I don't feel as much that way, but I do see that that's where you're coming from. Yeah, for sure.
Come on, the half an hour of this episode was nothing, literally. Them petting a freaking giraffe.
Well, but that's kind of
from the game.
That's emotion again.
I
Right?
know,
Like,
but
Straight from the game. And that's something that people love from the game.
The giraffe scene makes no sense, though. Okay, if logistically, it makes no sense when it happens in the show. He lifts her. He's lifting her up. He gives her a boost, and she throws the ladder down, almost killing him. Right.
Oh.
And then says, "Look at this! I got it! Look at this! Look at this!" And she proceeds to climb up 4 flights of stairs, go through a narrow hallway, turning left and right before entering on a place where she sees the giraffe. So what did she see when she said, "Oh my gosh, look at this"? It would have been physically impossible for her to have seen anything.
I thought that same thing.
Like, it made
I was
no
very
sense.
confused.
I think you're mostly right with that. I chalked it up to she caught a glimpse of something through a window and realized she had to climb up to get to a different better.
But come on.
Silly.
I'm giving the benefit of the doubt in a situation like this because I'm not mad at this show. But you're
Also,
I can't argue your point either.
I'm not mad either, but I thought the exact same thing. Like seriously, I was like, wait,
what?
Didn't show us anything of what she saw. It's just like, oh yeah, now I got to go across this building. And
I
up
thought it
these
was going to be
stairs
like a quick thing, like, oh, come look at this, and then she goes up another flight of stairs, and then another one, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I was
Dude,
confused.
she saw its leg or something. I don't know. I think that I was more caught up in the fact that I'm like, okay, here's that scene that everyone always talks about. Here's that scene that a lot of people talk about from the game. And so I was more focused on that eventual goal rather than the fact that it didn't make sense. But I agree that it was kind of weird.
I mean, but that's what I mean. Where I say that they waste time. Why do they have to show us, her climbing for like 4 sets of stairs? Just show us going to the back door and seeing the freaking giraffe. It's the same effect.
And
and that's because giraffes aren't that tall.
Was that a freaking mastodon or
four flights of stairs? That 4 levels would be
40 feet, at least 45 probably.
45. Yeah, giraffes aren't that tall.
I also
Yeah.
felt like it would have been more impactful, like if it took them by surprise. If they're going through this building, saying, "Oh man, the world is so bleak and gross," and all of a sudden, oh wait, no, there is beauty. But
Look at that, yeah.
it's
Right.
just
Yeah,
it
I
wasn't,
liked
it wasn't
that
used
moment,
effectively.
but yeah, I liked the moment with the giraffe, and I
Yeah.
liked the heart-to-hearts
And I
that,
don't-
that
but I don't
Ellie
like how
and
they
Jill
got
have been
there.
having.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
Well,
was
and
really
it-
confusing getting there.
It really
But-
did,
and-
and I don't know how this is in the game, but it really laid it on in a way that makes Joel's decision later even more in my perspective. And again, I think this is at least similar to what the game is in terms of she's saying, "No, we finished. We do what we came here to do," and then the fact that he says, "No, we're not doing what we came to do," and doesn't give that choice to her.
Hold on, we all know if The Last of Us were books, you would have read part 2 first, Mark.
I've been like, "This is dumb."
Discarding first part and then reading the third one, just the half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the point of the show wastes a lot of time, though. I mean, the cold open gives us Ellie's birth, and it adds literally nothing to the story.
No, I really liked that backstory. That was a really cool.
Come on.
The
that
only
was
thing-
a
the
really
only
cool
thing it
way to
adds-
show that she was immune.
And how she became immune, too.
Okay. Got it.
Because it had to do with her mom being bitten while she was
Yeah.
still attached.
But what was funny though, I was watching that scene and I said, "Man, that looks like a better Ellie than the."
That
than
is
the-
Ellie.
The one that they cast. And yeah, that's the Ellie from the video.
You know the
game.
really
That's
funny
Ashley,
thing?
that's Ashley
Of
Johnson.
Of course, she looks more like Ellie than Ellie.
That's Ashley Johnson from Critical Role. She's the voice actress.
The other thing that I thought was really funny, and
Wait,
you guys
what?
will
For
probably
real?
all completely
Yes.
disagree with me on this, but now that I saw the grown up, Ashley Johnson, I'm like, I see the connection. I see something that to me looks like a familial connection between Bella Ramsey and Ashley Johnson there. It's not perfect, it's not an exact, but I feel like I saw something in the face shape.
No, they should have
Not
got Greta
necessarily the
Thunberg
wide
to play
percent
her
eyes or
mom.
the higher forehead, but like definitely I saw some similarity there. I thought that was good.
I don't know.
It made me happy.
I mean, hey, at least in The Last of Us, they're not worried about, global warming. Just saying.
Yeah.
No, they are. They are. In the first episode, they literally said, "Oh, global warming
They blamed
is
it
going
on-
to cause
They blamed the pandemic on global warming.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is now that it's in swing and humanity is like at extinction, it's not an issue anymore.
Oh yeah, because there's not billions of people that we need to worry about, right? So
No,
all the
but
research-
what
Bingo,
provoked,
bingo.
but what provoked the whole thing was global warming. So it's basically yes, global warming was the whole thing. So it's like for me it was
Oh.
really woke, and I was just I'm going to be expecting the same as other shows that are woke. Lame writing.
I made a mistake. Mark Clark wasn't trying to make a joke. They were talking about the Jurassic Park books. Okay.
Nah.
Yeah, I do. The book is better, but the first Jurassic Park movie it's a masterpiece.
It's
The
just a
first
different
three.
thing. It's just
It still holds up today. It really still holds up today.
The movie is great and it's a fun like adventure and everything else like that. The book is so much more about the like chaos theory and
Okay.
and stuff like that going on. So
Yeah, that's why I want to
Much
talk
more
about
like it had.
65.
Did you
I
watch
love
it?
dinosaurs. Yeah.
You watch it? Yeah. Are we
Yes.
done talking? I don't have anything else to say about the last.
Oh, I had one thing to say about The Last of Us.
Okay.
No, no, I didn't like. First of all, I didn't like the beginning. The scene, like you said, it was useful. At least they show us how she became immune. But I was like, come on, this is just like a Quiet Place Part 2. Like, the pregnant woman fencing a zombie. And why was this zombie like regular zombies and not like pheromone fungi looking little spores coming out of their mouth zombie?
Well, it had spores coming out of its mouth.
Oh,
And
right.
They've shown that there are different kinds. There are the clickers. There's I don't know them all. The people that have played the game probably know them better because there's the bloater and then there's the clickers and there's other ones that do run at you and don't have the click. Like they have eyes still and they don't have.
But I was wondering why just one zombie? Don't these mother lovers communicate between each other? Like, aren't they supposed to literally?
They completely
that
forgot
was the
about
point.
the underground network. Yeah,
we called it.
you're right.
We called it.
Yep.
It was
Yeah.
never going to come up again.
Yeah,
And it was so interesting in the episode too. I was like, holy moly, these zombies are not effing around. These zombies are for real. But no, they forgot about that. I mean, whatever. The actress, I didn't know she was the one from Critical Role. I don't know how they made it look so bad because she's a handsome woman, but she looks just like Bella Ramsey, and I was like, okay, did they just implanted Bella Ramsey's face? Did you just
no,
do like
there
a
was-
I told
face
you,
swap?
She does look like Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, she does look
That's
like.
the
Did they do
actress
like a
that they
face
used.
swap or
They,
something
they
like that?
modified her with
Did they?
CGI to make
Probably-
her look like Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because
Maybe
There
But that-
was. I
Okay.
promise you, there were special effects superimposed over her face to make her look like Bella Ramsey. That is not how she looks in real life.
no, she looks
not.
great. She looks great.
She's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
I
She looks
still
like
think she looks
Pike.
gorgeous.
She looks like Pike from the what is it called? Box
Except she's taller.
Well, a little bit, just a
A
little,
little
bit.
bit
She's
taller
like,
than
Yeah.
she's like,
but so this episode, as just by itself, I thought was a pretty good episode. I thought the action in it was great. I liked the heart to heart moments between Joel and Ellie. I didn't like how it came together in the end, but viewing this episode with the whole season, it just felt out of place.
that's
didn't-
what
I want
And-
to know if if in the game, if that's how they're captured by the Fedra people, if they just if
walk up
they
behind him and
hit him with a
flashbang.
flashbang and knock Joel out. Is it that emasculating in the game too?
To be honest, I can't remember that.
Yeah.
no. What I
Because
think I
that
remember
moment
from the
that
games,
actually pissed me off. I'm like, even if you don't know who these people are, that's not how you like. You have the element of surprise. That's not how you approach strangers.
yeah.
It might be in a lot,
Especially if they
in a zombie
knew-
apocalypse world.
They knew that someone was coming, though. They knew
did
they
they?
paid Joel to deliver the girl.
They paid Joel to bring her to
Oh,
Wyoming
no, you're
or
right.
wherever
Okay,
it
you're
was.
right. You're right.
So
you're
like,
right.
there's no reason that they should have expected that to be them. And they even
Mhm.
mentioned they were like, you made it past our border guards. They had no idea you were coming, so they didn't know who you were. So they were just like, whoa, what the
It was
heck?
a massive overreaction,
I agree.
and
but-
it was
that-
another excuse to emasculate Joel.
I mean,
was
I
annoying-
completely disagree there. I don't think it was an overreaction because any other time that we've come across other groups of people, they have absolutely reacted in just about as extreme of a way. And all these other zombie apocalypse shows, and especially because these are Fireflies, who are people who are specifically going against the different Fedra groups that are out there, and they're very much we want to do our own that completely worked for me. I do not think that was overreaction.
I'll agree with Bearded on that one.
yeah,
I
me
do
too.
agree with that.
For the first time in this show, I agree with Bearder.
Hey!
I
He
didn't get,
wins.
it didn't bother me that much, that scene, but what bothered me was the first half an hour of nothing. Them just looking the scene. I don't know if you I don't know why I saw this way, you know. I thought of this way when they were like saying, oh, how do you get over the death of your daughter? And he's like, oh, I did it until now. And he looks at her like
Oh.
crying, and she's like, homie, what are you talking about? She has the worst face I've seen in my, like, okay, she has always the same face because she has 0 to none expressions. But at that point, I was like, holy moly, who did they got for?
I thought that was
Really,
sweet,
yeah.
and I thought it was
No,
well
no, come on.
No, like
After
she-
watching,
I
She
see
showed-
what you're. I see
she
what you're
was
saying,
like,
Max.
"Look,
I liked
I'm
it.
touched that you think that I'm that
I mean,
important to you." Like I thought it
he's-
was a reasonable reaction.
his
I will
part,
say-
his part was perfect. Like he did perfectly. Like his emotion and his eyes, you know,
What he
they
should have done
start
in that
watering.
scene,
And yeah, and
What he
but
should
I
have
was
done-
just
he should have pulled out a little bottle of shoe polish. I'm like, I haven't been healed until now. And just start wiping around her face.
That took me a second.
But
No, but
for me, it came out of nowhere. You know, for me, it just
And
came
he
out
goes,
of
"Look at
nowhere.
me.
And her reaction,
Look
yeah,
at
her
me."
reaction,
You're my daughter now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
No,
that was what I felt. But again, I've been in and out with this show. You know, for me in the games, this episode of this part of the game was some better managed. I don't know, when I first watched the whole gameplay, I was not even thinking that it was a hard decision for me. It was like, go and save that girl because she's your daughter, man. You're not gonna get another chance. And for me, it was like an easy decision. Like, go out and get her. Hey,
I would
Jude, go out
just
and get her.
I would just say, I mean, to wrap it all up, like if you're a fan of the show or if you're not a fan of the show,
In the game, it's better.
play the game.
That is better.
And it comes out on PC on the 28th. So here in in
This
10
month?
days, yes. In 10 days it comes out on PC, and then it's on, my goodness, if you have an old PlayStation 3, I mean, you can buy it on PlayStation 3 for like $5. If you want a PlayStation, you haven't played The Last of Us, first off, shame on you. But it's like yeah, you can play it at this point. It's on PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. You can play it on PlayStation 5, and if you don't have a PlayStation and you have a decent computer, it comes out on PC on the 28th. Buy it, play it, and I think the people who are watching this, they're going, these guys are too critical. I think when you play the game and you realize the source material, just like we talked about last week, they had gold and they tarnished it. They had gold and they gave us silver.
Mhm.
I definitely
Literally.
have. Go ahead. I was just going to say I've seen some people saying that even having played the game that they've enjoyed this still, but I definitely agree with everything you've said, that it sounds like it's even better in the game.
It's not about show. It's not about show. It's a decent show. It's a good.
Yeah, I don't have complaints with the whole thing as a whole. Is it good? Yes. If I didn't have the game to base it off of, and it was a story on its own, I don't think, apart from some of the stuff we've talked about, that we don't need to go back over just because of issues with social media. Apart from some of those things, I actually no. If you take away the game entirely, even those things would hold up because, like last week's, you have nothing to compare it to. So all that it would be fine. You wouldn't be able to say they were downplaying or doing anything like that. So a show on its own.
I've never played the game. I think it's mid-tier.
It's decent. I'm not saying it's A. I'm not saying it's the best TV show ever.
Solid B. B plus.
It's a lot more
I'd go with a solid B.
B plus.
A B.
There's a lot of fun killing all those zombies. There's a lot more zombie killing.
I would not have minded a little bit more zombies in there. As
Why
much as
aren't they
the idea to
more
remove that
zombies?
a lot? I do think that they should have probably had a little bit more of it in there.
Yeah, there's none of it. There's no. The only time they go through one of those crazy zombie infested nests is in episode 2,
and
like they only go through a zombie nest once in the whole thing, and in the game, again, I keep referring to the game, but that's what the source material is, right? Like you can't. You go through that constantly, and I understand they can't have it constantly in a 10 episode run, right?
But you only as you had it in the game.
I mean, they have the budget,
right? You can have it, but you don't have. They have it one time. There's one episode that you can say. I guess you could argue that the episode with Henry, episode 5, I think, when all the zombies burst out of the ground. I guess you could say out of 10 episodes, there's 2 episodes that show zombies, like in a significant way.
And then there's
there was a zombie in episode 3. Yeah, there was no.
You've got 2.5 if you want to count the little bits that are in the rest of them. That counts as maybe half another episode.
Well,
maybe
one zombie being showed in one scene doesn't cut it.
Yeah, zombie when Ellie goes down and finds the toilet paper and there's
5.
that zombie, she tortures it with a knife or whatever. That's a zombie scene. Or there was a zombie that Bill killed with one of his traps.
That's called tokenization, okay?
Yes.
That's a token zombie.
I know this is wild, but it's been a while. I did like the scene with Ellie in the car. I think it was episode 5 or 6. With the clicker that was in the car. That was pretty intense.
Yeah.
That was an intense one. Again, that's the second episode with zombies in it. That was a pretty intense scene. That was pretty cool.
It has good cinematography, good music.
It was terrifying.
It has good to decent.
It was weird that she was doing gymnastics, though.
I thought it was amazing because clickers do not move normally, and so her like pulling like Evil Dead, like flipping over seats and crap
Yeah.
to get to Ellie. I was like, oh my gosh,
It was a
that's
little
good.
less specifically gymnastics, but very like interesting movement to me. Yeah.
Contortionist.
Yeah, like the
Contortionist.
ring, like the ring girl, you know, like doing the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, that was
but
good.
I think
wish there were more zombies in it, but-
I think that's all we really need to say about. Let's go to 65. Let's talk about 65.
Okay. do you
Well,
wanna-
I just wanted to say one more thing about
yeah.
it. Because I think like we talked a little bit about Joel's decision, but I think I wanted to just talk about like so the worry that I had with this is that right now, especially in the United States, there's all of this talk about gun violence and all the school shootings that have happened. Like that was the one thing that with this particular way how it was shown, it felt very much like that sort of situation where it was like, hey, this is something where he feels vindicated to commit all this murder, and unfortunately, I think it comes off more of a really heinous crime than it does anything else because of how it was portrayed. And unfortunately, I think that's something that they could have tried to avoid a little bit.
There wasn't enough discussion on that too. It was just immediately like, "Hey, we need to harvest the brain cells," and
he's
there was no discussion like, "Well, can you do that non-lethally or something?" Like, no, this has to be done or whatever. And then at the very end too, I didn't like that back and forth saying, "Oh, this is not your decision to make, Joel." And then she says, "Oh, she would have made this decision."
Yeah.
And he should have said something like, "You don't know that. You didn't ask her. You didn't give her the choice."
Yeah.
Well,
and I
do
get their reaning behind when they said we didn't want to like. I get the reasoning behind that, but I do still think that the right thing would have been for them to talk to her about it. And like you said, she would have almost certainly decided that, but she needs to be the one to have decided that.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that if you're looking at the sorts of messaging that I think that they like to be able to send of giving people their own choices and their own ability to make those choices, at least ostensibly, that's one of the things that they really want to push. That's a great position to say, hey, give her this autonomy to have made that decision. And then if you want, I mean, I don't know, that would have made Joel even more of a villain that he didn't do it.
Well, they did that. Like that was part of that discussion at the first, is that she was like, look, I'm here to do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I liked it, to be honest, is
but
because
at the time,
like,
she
in the
didn't know
game,
that it was going to cost her her life. And I think just being able to give her that chance to confirm it, because I agree that that's absolutely the choice she would have made because of that scene we see with the draft.
I liked that they kept her in the dark there. I didn't have a problem with that. The problem I have with is there wasn't enough discussion around it.
Yes.
He just jumps.
It
jumps
happened
into this
very
Rambo
fast.
mode.
She shows up and says, "Hey, we're doing this thing," and then he says, "Oh, but those things grow in the brain." And she says, "Yes, we have no other choice," and then leaves. Like there should have been like some discussion, and the fact that he's the one that figures it out, not saying like.
In the game, they have that full discussion.
Yeah, it was silly. It was
in the game,
very
they had
rushed.
that full discussion.
It was very rushed.
But with
Like,
with that, did you see the
philosophically.
Reddit page that came out from doctors that were watching?
Yes, I did. They said, "Why didn't they just do a spinal tap?"
Yeah, all these doctors, like these professional medical people, are like
you could have gotten everything you could have carved physically from her brain. You could have just gotten from a spinal tap.
Yeah, they were. You could have done a spinal tap. You could have done this. You could have done that. There's so many options. You don't even have to go. Just go in with make a small incision and go in and suck a little bit of the there was this whole we're talking brain surgeons.
Which is why it makes it worse that Joel does this after no discussion. He just says, "Wait, it's in the brain. That means you have to kill her." And they don't even acknowledge that that's the case, right? If they would have said,
kind of confirm it.
No, because maybe the primitive technology that we have available to us now, that she's going to die.
But how do they?
But not only that,
brain?
so they one person was like, "You don't like this. This is just welcome to the internet, right? Like welcome to the internet." You have brain surgeons. Literally, these people are putting where they work and how long they've worked and where their education is and what other. And you have people you don't know what you're talking about. You have this and that. Great, you're arguing. You're good job, keyboard warrior, arguing with the brain surgeon for the freaking Minnesota General or something like that. Anyway, but the best part is like if someone was like, well, you don't know what the basic technology they had, they wouldn't be able to yada yada yada. And one guy responded, he was like, a spinal tap is like brain surgery / basic surgery 101. Like any surgeon knows how to do that. It's one of the most basic things of all time. And then it was really funny, like when the scene opened, they opened the door and the doctor's standing there with like the scalpel and Ellie's like laying on the bed. Someone was commenting live. They were like, how come
that she wasn't prepped for surgery?
Yeah, they're like, she's not even prepped for surgery. They're like, how is she breathing? Like, because she's like passed out. Like, there's no tubes in her throat. Or, like, they're not helping her breathe. And one person's like, well, they're gonna kill her. They wouldn't do that. And they're like, yeah, but when you're doing a surgery like that, you have to keep the patient alive until the very moment of death. Dude, otherwise you have a dead patient, and all that information is useless. It's useless.
It's also silly that they just jump to, oh, we have to kill her, right? Like, start running
tests first,
other
run.
It's been a couple of
any test for.
And the game does that.
Yeah,
that's the thing. The game does that. He was like, now that you've got her blood and now that you've done all this, we can go, right? I can pick her up and go. And the woman who's the Firefly, she's like, no, like they've run the tests, they've done the blood. We can't get anything. They're gonna have to like they're there for a couple of days. It seems like that's the feel you get. They're there for like a full day or two.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, we've got to go into her brain. Like we've got to open it up. And he's like, the tentacles wrap around her brain. They're like entangled inside of her. And we've got to pull those out.
Yeah, and so
but we needed to waste time during episode 3 and 7 on LGBTP romances, so we didn't have time to make the finale effective.
Yeah. And honestly, because we also know episode 2 and episode 1 and 3 were like almost 2 hours long, or I think they were.
One was almost 2 hours.
They could have been able to do that even with those episodes. They definitely could have done that. But yeah, because to your point of like the discussion, like you could maybe argue also like, oh, we don't know how cordyceps actually works, so like maybe it wouldn't have been in a spinal tap, maybe. But you could have that discussion. You could say like, yeah, no, this doesn't work. This doesn't work.
Yeah,
and I agree that honestly,
how hard would it have been?
It should have been a couple of weeks. It should have been like a month or more that they were there trying different things. And like, how much did they try? Like, even if they were there a couple of days, like in the game, how much could they have tried?
Yeah, were they like one afternoon here?
Like, no. Okay, we're just gonna. They kind of jumped to it pretty quick. It sounds like.
Anyway,
but and the argument is, oh, we didn't have enough time to tell that. And this, you did, and you wasted 2 whole episodes.
Well, I didn't see those as wasted, but that's.
Or you could have just made this episode longer. Just make it. How long does it take to say they've tried a spinal tap? They've tried this test. They've tried. How long does it take to go to a surgeon? You're medical. Just go to a medical surgeon. Pay them $1,000 and be like, I want to sit down with you. If this is your patient and this is what you're trying to do, what are your options? From taking it from the blood all the way to opening up the brain. Well, we could do this, and this. Great. And then in the show, you just write the script. We tried this, and this. 10 seconds. Done. No loopholes.
It doesn't matter
nothing.
how much time they quote unquote wasted in episodes 3 and 7 or whatever. They still had. There's no limits. This is HBO. They don't have to have kept it to a 9-hour.
They could have had They could have had 10 episodes.
They could have had 10 episodes. They could have had more. They could have. Like, again, just 10 seconds was enough to add it in there, but like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever here and there isn't going to inflate your budget too much more. Like I get maybe there's a budget that you can't go too crazy with, but you can do it pretty quickly, pretty efficiently. Yeah. I agree.
Just talk to any one of your cast members. Hey, whose family member is in the medical profession? Hey, Waterboy, your dad's a what? Oh, your dad's an anesthesiologist? Can you call him real quick? I've got a question. Yeah, sure. Not a problem. Come on, get real.
Yeah,
help us make it look like we're prepping this patient for.
You know what this. You know what? Now that you think about it, you know what this episode reminds me of. This episode reminds me of season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Yes. It does.
The last one, right?
Yeah, the last. It just reminds me of season 8. It was good, but it was not good.
Yeah, like production value. You're like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, even then, like you can see, yes, they spent a ton of money on production, but they didn't spend the care, right? So you get the coffee cup that appears in season 8, and you get all kinds of internal consistencies. Like, you guys spent so much money on this, and that was like the only, like, you're like, oh, that's enough. Like, but you didn't have the passion to think about, oh, hey, maybe we should have a nose tube, right? Maybe she should have a breathing tube, right?
Yeah. Sounds also like Rings of Power too. They spent a ton of money, but not a whole lot of care.
Exactly.
But Rings of Power is way worse, There's no
absolutely.
point of
Oh yeah.
comparison. Even, well, probably, season 8 of Game of Thrones is the only way.
All
So
right.
I think at least 2 or 3 times we've tried to move past Last of Us.
Yeah, let's transition with some news, and then we'll talk about 65.
Okay.
Guess what? We got more race swaps on the horizon.
Oh my God.
X-Men introduced a brand new version of Cyclops and Jean Grey, and they're both black.
Interesting.
What makes this even more silly, okay, is that you remember how we talked about that article that was trying to shame I'm having a brain fart again, and this is an embarrassing one.
Stanley.
Yeah, that was trying to shame Stan Lee for being lazy for creating the X-Men.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like part of the true part of it was that he created the X-Men so he could have a group of superheroes that he didn't need backstories for. He could just say, hey, they have powers because, right? So the X-Men exist as an excuse to be lazy, right? Tech kind of, right?
He built a really good backstory for all of them.
It's not hard. So it's not hard to create new original black X-Men. Okay. But in order to do the race swap, they had a character do a multiverse thing so that he could be introduced to black Jean Grey and black Cyclops.
Why is everyone black? Like,
so on top of the fact that it's the lazy X-Men, it's also the lazy multiverse excuse of, oh, well, they're all of the students in this school are black. That's a juggernaut.
Juggernaut, yeah.
Like
segregation.
There you go. That's a bad thing. Anyway,
that's weird.
It's silly and it's cringy. But the X-Men aren't the only people getting race swapped. This one's bad. Who wants to take a wild guess? Who gets race swapped next?
Is it?
I don't know.
No, is it the meme? Is it?
No.
Is it? It's real. Is it real? Oh
real.
My God!
This is real.
Julius Caesar.
Nope.
Julius Caesar.
Abraham
Genghis Khan.
It's Lord of the Rings.
Oh no.
Frodo.
Aragorn.
Oh.
Aragorn. Okay.
No.
Magic the Gathering is doing a crossover event with the Lord of the Rings, and they've race swapped Aragorn.
Nice.
At least Erwin is white.
Yeah.
Together, no.
I don't know. I'm not hating it. I don't know.
I just don't get something what Mexico said. How come the race swap always has to be black? How come it's not a Mexican? Or how come it's not a Chinese guy? Or how come it has to be black? Like, that's my question.
There are black races in the Lord of the Rings. It's just not his race.
Yeah.
What's funny is that there was a man on TikTok who was crying about this, saying, I could finally feel represented in the Lord of the Rings. What happened to Rings of Power? I thought that was your chance to be represented.
No, he was half black, half.
These people are
Puerto
insane.
Rican.
They're insane. If you
They just move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
They don't care what happened before.
It's
They move
never
on to the
enough.
next.
It's never enough. It will never be enough. And these people are racist. They're racist.
If you give a mouse a cookie is one of the best books in the whole wide world.
That's exactly it, Corwin.
If you give a mouse a cookie, he'll want Aragorn to be black.
He doesn't look handsome, by the way. He just
see,
has a good...
again, I'm not all right.
Come
You're
on.
race swapping it. Okay, great. That really doesn't bother me too much.
Am I like blind?
How come the race swapping, and I'm just going to go back to this with Nexus point, how come the race swapping is always nothing racist against, but it's always black? How come it's not
It's
Chinese
reparations.
or Asian or Filipino or Mexican or Brazilian or there's
Or
so many
race
other.
swapping black to white. That's
They're,
never.
they're,
Yeah.
they're going for the easy thing, 'cause, and I can even get I can get the intention behind it, and so I do want to like at least give some acknowledgement to that. But I agree, it's I don't think they're doing it well. I think they're being lazy about it, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pandering.
Yeah.
That's all
Correct.
it is. There's no meaning behind it. They're doing it just because.
Because
Yeah.
I'll even say I think representation is important.
Yeah,
I
of
just
course
think that
it's
they're being
important.
lazy and they're not doing it well. They're just doing it lazily.
This is not representation.
Mm-hmm.
Representation is important, okay? I fully support original characters. This is not representation. This is repurposing. This is racism.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. Wait.
Yeah, the key word there being reduce.
Mm.
This is a reduction. This is derivative. This is sloppy seconds. It's not what people deserve.
Mm-hmm.
But we know it's about the
Yep.
symbolism of taking down a symbol of power and replacing it with something. Well, that their point. They don't care. They don't care about representation either. They care about the symbolatry. Did you guys see that President Biden got fact checked this week?
Oh, by
Dude,
Twitter notes.
I gotta say, I'm loving the new Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Calling out his blatant lies, saying that billionaires don't pay taxes. I don't know if you know this, but the top 1% of America pays 60% of the taxes.
Yep.
This is a blatant lie.
If you got a tax refund, I mean, there's way more to it than this, but in layman's terms, if you got a tax refund, you didn't pay taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that is great though. That it's directly like Elon Musk, the owner of Twitter.
Yeah, no, he's like, I paid 53% in taxes. That's insane. He pays more than he made on his stock options.
Yeah, he literally said like,
and that's the worst thing to tax too. Being rewarded for succeeding as a company, you get penalized for being a good company, while at the same time we're bailing out banks for failing as companies. We're rewarding people for bad behavior and punishing people for good behavior. This is, and people will say, and that's why capitalism is evil. Capitalism, blah, blah, blah.
look at the
This is not capitalism.
look at the
Capitalism
comment.
is a free market. This is the opposite of capitalism. This is socialism.
That girl right below Elon Musk is like basically saying the opposite of what you're saying. Blase millionaires earn their wealth by thieving wages. What?
Dude, if you've ever looked into what corporations have to pay,
It's insane.
for that, they have to pay payroll taxes, they have to pay for benefits, they have to pay taxes on their income, they have to pay
on
taxes
goods sold and
so
purchased.
much. And then not only that, we as the employer get taxed
After-
on that same income. The tax, the money is taxed 4 or 5 times before it
If
actually
you want to
hits
give the
you.
money to your kids, it gets taxed. If you
Yeah.
die, it gets taxed.
Death
If you
tax.
make good investments with that money after it's already been taxed, it gets taxed again.
Yeah,
If
the
you
death
make
tax
money, it
is
gets taxed.
Jesus.
If you spend your money, it gets taxed. It gets taxed so many freaking ways. But businesses have it the worse off. They have to pay taxes every which way for every single thing.
The point is that
it's
new Twitter
ridiculous.
is really fun.
Well, on that, because I know some people say, well, look at Elon Musk, like he's worth billions and he could pay his employees more and yada yada
He's paid
yada.
more taxes than any other human on
Okay, taxes aside, all that aside, and they say he's not. Did you see what he announced that he's doing for all the people that he kept at Twitter? Did you see the article where he said he was building a Twitter, essentially like a Twitter employee homestead park type thing?
Yeah.
He is building every one of the Twitter employees who stayed at Twitter. He is building them a home, and not like a little cheap home. Like he's building them the newest, smartest, eco-efficient Tesla home you could possibly build.
Nice.
That's what he's doing. Like
That guy is a cool guy.
Yep.
He's like the coolest guy in the whole world.
Anyway, I don't know if you guys saw this announcement, but Zack Snyder tweeted out a little video that features the voice of Darkseid, incoming transmission, and then Darkseid starts speaking, and he says, "Save the date, April 28th through 30th of this year. Save the date."
There's also another one that I think came out afterwards. There was a second one, I think.
No,
that he did too.
no, I didn't see a second one, but maybe
I saw a couple news reports on it. I saw a news report come out about this, and then it was a second one that he'd done. I thought as well.
This makes me very curious because there have been rumors that they are going to sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix so that he can keep making them.
Well, and honestly, one of the things.
And this could be anything, right? This could be announcing the release date for his Star Wars movie on Netflix, right? But the fact that he's using Darkseid's voice,
and it says from Lord Darkseid.
Yeah, it like either this is like the worst troll of all time, or he's gonna finish his Justice League.
Or what if he's doing a video game? That would be interesting too.
That'd be fine too. The thing that I think is interesting about that is while we haven't loved a lot of the things coming out about about DC with James Gunn, one of the things that they did set up is this idea of we can have Elseworld stories.
Yeah.
So we can tell stuff that is not part of our like DCU that we're trying to set up and start pushing forward with. And you see that with the Joker and the Joker 2, and then Batman and the Batman with Pattinson that are not going to be DCU.
What's weird is it's a 3-day announcement, though.
Yeah,
like that's what I'm like. I don't know what that could be.
I guess that
and
could
only a month
drop.
A month.
Oh,
away.
That's by the way.
Close.
That's my birthday. I mean, April 29. That's my birthday.
Nice.
So,
Happy birthday.
well, it's going to be a great announcement.
Yeah.
I would love to see his continuation of the Justice League.
Me too.
Me too. I think it's far more interesting than what DC is doing right now.
After watching, which was the Ryan Howard. I don't even remember who did the first Justice
Joss
League.
Whedon.
Joss Whedon. Okay. And then watching Zack Snyder's one, he was like, okay, his vision was much better.
It was really good. I really liked his Justice League.
To be fair, he put together most of Justice League, and then WB said, no, we want it to be 2 hours, and you can't reshoot anything, just make it 2 hours. And he said he couldn't do it. And then, of course, he had his daughter die and some awful stuff like that. And so Joss Whedon had to just come in with like basically nothing, couldn't reshoot anything or really very much at all.
No.
Well,
Joss Whedon reshot like 90% of the movie.
He did reshoot a lot, but like he didn't have a lot of other. He didn't have new time, and he had to get it from what Zack Snyder had created down to 2 hours.
Right.
Which Zack Snyder had a 4-hour thing. So I mean.
Yeah, no, it was a hell of a job.
No shame to Whedon.
I don't blame Whedon for it being bad.
He had like the best.
He even had the troll where he had the dude with the sign that said "We tried."
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was a. He said it. He said that's just from me. Says that's just a message. So that sign at the beginning of the show that just says like it's when the world's coming to an end or whatever, and the guy's holding it. It just says "We tried." Or I tried or whatever. That's Joss Whedon's own little.
I might go rewatch Zack Snyder's Justice
League. Me too. I was actually thinking about that as well.
And I love how they couldn't reshoot Henry, because Henry Cavill was doing Mission Impossible, whatever, and so he had the mustache. And the were like, no, you can't have him shave his mustache. That's hard. So they had to edit out his mustache and Superman for the it looked so bad. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I'm very curious. I don't know. Well,
I'm hoping for the best.
A couple other news things. The media has been weirdly attacking Jenny Ortega recently. She came out with an article there were two big things. She gave an interview where she talked about how she actually said no to her role in Wednesday about several times because she wanted to stick with movies, and they begged her to come on and do the role. And then after they begged her to come on, she talked about how she was very she was basically doing a Henry Cavill, in that she kept asking the producers why they were making bad choices. And she kept like talking to the writers, and she was difficult on set because she kept asking, why is my character doing this? Like, she thought it was out of character for her character to be in a love triangle. And so the media doesn't like that, and they're trying to smear her. And I've only gained more respect for her. I think she was the only redeeming part about the show. She was really good as Wednesday. And hearing all this and seeing Hollywood attack her, let's not scroll down too much. And those ads are... Oh, no, that's not.
Gotta be careful on the internet, bro.
I really like Jenny Ortega now, but I thought that was interesting.
What's that?
Oh,
No.
Okay. All right. Not a whole. Too many ads on that one.
There's
Not a whole lot to discuss
things we
there.
don't want to see on
But I
that
found
one.
it very interesting.
What are you looking at in your ad stuff there, Alan?
I have like so many ad look. See, I have a lot of ad blockers on, but sometimes it doesn't work. Anyway, the point is, kudos to Jenny Ortega for standing up for values and trying to be a force of good in this weird world.
Yeah, she's great.
There was another interview where she talked about how she's not accustomed to all of the glamour and stuff, and she doesn't like a lot of the glamour, and Hollywood doesn't like that. So they're going to try and attack her, but stay strong because you're cool. Filmmakers called the Little Mermaid trailer at the Oscars gross and depressing. Did you guys? We didn't watch the Oscars.
Is that a screenshot of the...
Yes.
Yep. That's the way it looks.
So what happened? This wasn't like a trailer that played during the commercials of the Oscars. They played the trailer for the Little Mermaid live at the Oscars.
It's because Disney was the sponsor of the Oscars, so they've got to put their plug in there. That's what they were doing.
It's because Disney owns ABC. Yes, and ABC is doing the Oscars.
They always do
played
that kind of
their
thing.
own trailer at the Oscars.
That's funny.
And the funny part is, I find this is the hilarious part. No one watched the Oscars.
No.
No one watched
I heard
it.
that actually it had a higher than it has in the past, which is
It did. You're correct. It did. It went from like
Going up.
1.4 million to like 1.5.
Huh? I wonder why.
Like-
It's almost like last year's was interesting.
For the slap, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. It had a little higher, but it wasn't. I mean, it's kind of like like the government does with the jobs reports. Hey, we took away 50,000 jobs a couple months ago, but then this month they're like, oh, look at that, we added 60,000 jobs. Oh, so a net gain of 10,000. Clap, slow clap. Like that's what the Oscars were. No one really watched it. It wasn't that. It did not get. It didn't go from like 12 million to like 22 million. No. It went from it was a paltry gain, but of course they're gonna say it. It was the most watched in the past 10 years. So 11 people watched it instead of 10. Congratulations,
David. This is the design of the.
Oh no!
Oh my!
And there was a girl. I don't know if it was Jane Theory or it was the other girl, the one that lives in Mexico as well. I don't remember the name of that girl. She's like Palestinian, something like that. And she was remarking that kind of crap doesn't, even exist in something remotely like that. They just took basically the crap from the meme, the tan 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 tan. They literally just took the crap and painted red.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the trailer looks horrible. Everything about it looks terrible.
Sebastian is
the most.
Did they release the actual trailer on?
Yeah. Yes.
on
Yeah,
YouTube?
yeah.
The most
I have not
offensive part
seen
of the
that.
trailer, David, is do you know who they got to voice act the what's the pelican's name? They're not flounder. That's the fish. Sebastian's the crab.
Shoot.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I just watched it the other week with my
Guess
little
who's
girl.
voice acting the pelican?
Who?
My favorite actress of all time,
Oh, no.
Aquafina.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh.
Who is?
Aquafina. I hate
Who
her
is
so
that?
much. Exactly. Exactly.
She's
Corwin.
like
Raya.
She's the,
YouTuber.
She's the
Yeah.
last dragon from Raya and the Last Dragon.
she's the friend in
Shang-Chi.
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 Yep.
Yeah, she's been getting really popular.
She's
lately.
a
I don't
YouTuber.
mind
She's
her,
a
but
YouTuber.
She's painfully unfunny.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
I
her
don't
voice
mind it
is,
too much,
is
but
grating and annoying, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not
But
crazy about her. I don't have a problem with her, but I'm not crazy about her.
yeah,
I
I thought she
can't
was
stand
fine in Shang-Chi, but I haven't
Yeah.
really liked anything else she did.
The pelican is named Scuttle, by the way. But
Scuttle.
Scuttle.
There's
yeah,
no way, yeah.
Scuttle.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
Dinglehopper. Anyway, Dead on Arrival. One more news story. Oh,
And that's what they're scared of. Real quick, that's what they are terrified of. They are terrified that they have sunk, just like they did with Beauty and the Beast, even though Beauty and the Beast was very good years and years ago. They're terrified they've sunk 300 million into this sucker, or however much they put into it, and they are going to get no return. Like Disney's have so many flops. They're like, oh crap.
That's the thing. I'm still interested in it. I'll still see it. I'm excited enough for it. I think it looks fine, but none of their live action things have been great. You know,
I love Javier Bardem. I love him, but as King Triton, that is the worst casting of all time.
Wait, what? What the hell?
Yeah, I noticed that.
You can't even tell what he's saying. Like I love his accent, and it works when he's playing a Mexican. Okay, it's a very sexy voice, but he does not work as King Triton. Also, this meme is hilarious.
I think it's dumb. She's fine. I don't care what she looks like. She's fine.
She's ugly, and she's a badass. Here's a couple more memes. Biden calls on banks to stop collapsing.
Stop it. Stop it.
Colin Kaepernick sues his adoptive parents for $21 million in reparations.
Yeah. Yep. I saw that.
Did he actually really do that though?
No, this is.
I was going to say
satire.
that's what that
He
one
did.
be, but I'm
He
like,
did call them racist for adopting him.
Yeah.
He called his parents
racist
for adopting him and giving him the opportunity to become a millionaire.
Yep.
Investing all the time, money, and effort into making him like private coaches, like the whole shebang. But you know, his parents are the evil ones.
Yep.
I
So
wish
oppressed.
my parents were racist, to be honest.
That's a good take, Maxo. I love it.
The Mexican. I wish my parents were racist.
I mean, my mother kind of is, but yeah, she's whiter than me, so she kind of is.
Yeah.
But let's just say she doesn't like Guatemalan.
Well, that's the phrase. With friends like these, who needs enemies, right? Like,
That's good.
oh gosh. Anyway, so 65. I loved 65 because it is everything The Last of Us should have been. It is the perfect movie to compare to The Last of Us because it's the same story, but with dinosaurs. It's Adam Driver loses his daughter and crashes on an alien planet, and there's a girl there who becomes his new daughter figure that he has to protect, and they have to do a bunch of traveling to get home to safety, and it's the exact same dynamic, and it does not work in The Last of Us, but it works so well in 65. And what's more impressive is it is done without any dialogue.
Yeah.
The little girl has no line. She doesn't have a single line of dialogue. She says words because
they don't. So
there's
so
a
to
language barrier.
there's a language barrier.
So the most she ever says is like 2 words at a time. Home, family. And she does
Move
with 0 dialogue to become endearing to the audience than Bella Ramsey did in 9 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there was a pivotal moment when she is trying to rescue the little dinosaur. That was like, oh my god, this girl is like, this is what I wanted Ellie to be. You know,
It was I was like, that's not why I went to see the movie. But Corwin texted me saying, hey, it's really good, and it was a Tuesday, and I'm like, hey, Tuesday is cheap day at the theater. I'm gonna go watch it. And then I was like, the whole time I was like, this is what, like, I'd already finished watching The Last of Us, and I was like, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted the whole time.
But you can see that these guys actually either have families or have daughters, or Adam Driver probably has a family, probably has daughters or sons. So he understands the dynamic, I think, better than that leftist crazy man, that Neil Druckmann or whatever the name that guy is. I don't remember the name of the guy. But yeah, I loved the movie. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun time. It was not the smartest movie in the bunch. That's the problem with some CGI, with some sci-fi movies where they sometimes don't follow logic. When in the first scene where they almost crash into the asteroid, rain or whatever, it was pretty dumb, but it was impactful. It did its job.
The movie is a solid B plus, but but just analyzing the relationship, it's so much better and it's so much more effective.
My only qualm with it is I did think it suffered a little bit from pacing issues. I just thought it was go the entire time.
It was an hour and a half movie, and it was refreshing.
That's just my quip, and that's just
5 hours long.
That's just a personal thing. That's just a personal thing.
I did not have problems with the pacing, but
for me, the reason why I say that is because it was because I agree with you. I think it's a solid B plus movie. I think it was very good. It was very well done. I think, I agree with you. The whole comparison to The Last of Us, I think Adam Driver knocked it out of the park.
He was fantastic.
I think the little girl knocked it out of the park.
She was wonderful.
I don't know the name of her, but I think she did a really good job.
I've never seen her in anything.
She's a no name, and she did a fantastic job.
She has a career. Yeah, she has a career in the way. Mm-hmm.
She kind of looked like the girl who played in Logan, the Wolverine, X-26 or whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah, but she looked like a Filipinian, but
yeah. But so she, I just felt like it was just at some point it was just for me about 3/4 the way through. I was like, okay, here we go. Another obstacle. And then he conquers that obstacle. And 2 minutes later, literally 2 minutes later, a minute later, oh, here we go. Another obstacle. I didn't think there was no point where it really slowed down for me, but that didn't kill it. That doesn't kill it for me. Like I said, I thought it was a B plus movie. It was worth seeing again. Like I saw it with my parents because my wife and kids are out of town. So I would go take my wife to see it again. I liked it. I thought it was an enjoyable show.
It was good. It's worth watching. It's a
she
solid
played the young Gamora in Infinity War. I'm just looking at her IMDb.
Okay. It was a fun movie.
Oh, she did.
It was a very clean, concise script. Nothing was wasted. It wasn't like the most impressive thing you'll like. Oh, this is the most beautiful script I've ever written. But it was short and to the point, and there was tons of setup, and all of it was paid off. There were so many moments where they're like, "Hey, I'm showcasing this cool future technology, and it's because it's going to come up in the finale, right?" Like, but it wasn't just brought up for no reason. It's brought up to be used in a scene to push the movie forward, and that it's going to be used again in the finale in combat. Right, like it was great. There were tons of just little things here and there, and they were all picked back up again and used in the finale. It was a clean movie. It was just very clean, simple, super simple. It was not a lot dinosaurs with guns.
But even the dinosaurs with guns, like there wasn't language in it, so you could take it like a little kid to see it, as long as maybe like Elliot's age, like maybe.
Oh, he'd love it. I'm gonna take him to see it.
Like, because there's no language in it. There's no cussing. I think there's 1 or 2 cuss words in the whole movie, if that.
Well, yeah, they do cuss a lot, but they say the shiatsu, they say F, well, whatever.
I didn't hear an F bomb in there.
No, there wasn't.
I didn't hear an F-bomb in there, but
Maybe in the beginning. Maybe in the very beginning.
the
I have
the
a funny
one
note on that for later.
the only like this is Alan's correct. Everything they did paid off. There was no loopholes. There was no loopholes that I could see that were blaring, and we're very critical. Like us six are actually very critical. Maybe not Jared, bearded Jared, but and other Jared. But we're very critical of a lot of things. But I didn't see loopholes. The only complaint I would have loophole wise would be the smallest little thing, and this is how good and how tight of a ship it was. When he's describing the girl, and I'm not giving any spoilers or anything, but when he's talking about the girl, because he's doing like a captain's log type thing, he says like this little girl appears to be 9. She's not 9. Yeah. Like she's, if you know kids, she's very clearly 12 or 13, and he had a 12 or 13-year-old daughter. Like
there was one plot point that I thought was very convenient and I didn't like, and then halfway through the movie it's explained, and you're like, oh, I was wrong. Like that's actually really clever, and it's immediately switched from being a negative point in the film to actually working in the film's favor. I thought it was, oh, that's really, really convenient, and then I was like, wait, no, that's actually genius.
So I liked it.
Or you cannot because spoil it.
Yeah, I will say the title is a spoiler. The fact that it's called 65 million years ago, if you don't know, that's when the asteroid hit and destroyed all the dinosaurs.
Okay.
Is it actually called 65 million years ago? Or is
it's called 65.
It's called 65, and then
but they market it
million years ago on Earth. Yes, like it literally takes like 20 minutes. There's like a 20 minutes of intro, and then it hits the title screen. 65.
Yeah, it is true.
Million years ago, humans.
That's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, there's like 20 minutes of everything, and then it's like 65 million.
But I think the fact that they revealed that it's Earth was silly. It would have been more impactful if you don't even know that these aren't humans. It should have been, hey, I think this is in the future. They crash land on this planet, and all of a sudden it's revealed, no, this is actually Earth, and the comet's coming right now. That was the part. Sorry, that's the part that I thought was convenient. That they landed on Earth right at the time that the comet was going to strike. I was like, that's just really lucky. But the reason that they crash is because of the comet. Their ship hits into debris and crashes on Earth, and then and I was like, that's genius. That's really smart. Because they had the chore, they were on autopilot, and they weren't expecting this comet to be there. So that causes the accident, and then the entire film has the countdown clock, the doomsday clock that we have to get off. Otherwise we'll be eaten by dinosaurs and then explode. It's really clever. It's really clever.
I only had like 2 nitpicks, and I usually I love to nitpick about movies and TV shows, but I only had like 2, and in the beginning mostly the whole thing with the asteroid field. It was like, okay, isn't the ship going to tell you before you're literally in front of the freaking
how fast? I thought the same thing.
How fast is this type of vehicle going? Like, shouldn't it go like the speed of light or something like that? Why is it going like in slow motion? Well, I don't know, but every other movie in the space, what was the movie with Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt? I don't remember. Passengers. The ship was going so slowly, and it's like, okay, this is going to take you 100 years to get to the place where you want to go. And the cryogenesis, okay, I was wondering, why doesn't this girl speak English? Then I realized, okay, she's foreign, she's speaking a foreign language, because in the first 30 minutes of the movie, she's like you said, saying like words, just like repeating the words he's saying, like thank you or something like that, smile, some things like that, love.
Right.
I was like, okay, is this like cryogenic dissonance or like cognitive dissonance caused by cryogenesis? That probably would have been interesting, but nah. She was foreign.
The other thing, can we get some face palms in the chat for the horrible joke, please? Thank you. Go on.
And the other thing I didn't like was basically the same thing that I didn't like about The Last of Us was the lack of dinosaurs. The lack of freaking dinosaurs. There's 6 dinosaurs in the whole freaking movie. If you don't, well, 6 species or different species of
Yeah.
pseudo.
They were used frequently. There wasn't a whole lot of variety.
Yeah. There's like the
They were a
lizards,
constant threat.
the 6 lizards, the mini raptors, the actual raptors, this little dinosaur that God knows what mix between Triceratops and freaking T-Rex was the one that they saved. It was just a mess. The species were like really dumb. I was thinking, is this even Earth or is just like something that looks like Earth?
And that's what I mean by pacing. Like, actually, now that you bring that up, now that I think about it, it would have been nice, even if there was just somewhere in there where there was a giraffe moment, like for The Last of Us. Like, they could have used any sort of peaceful, large dinosaur or whatever. Just something, just a moment where they could take a breath and be like,
a moment of awe. Yeah,
right, a moment of awe.
And it's a moment of not terrified awe. Probably.
Yeah, correct. And I think that would have actually been really cool. They didn't have that in there, and I think that would have cleared up. So, Max, you bringing that up really, it does. I go, you know what? That's what it needed. It needed a Jurassic Park Brachiosaurus moment, like in the beginning of the movie, where he turns her head and it's the eating, and he jumps up and it smashes and the camera shakes.
Yeah,
it needed something like that. It didn't, maybe not that epic, obviously, but something that just gave them an awe moment of I'm running for my life awe. And it would have added a little more variety to the dinosaurs, like overlooking a field and seeing kind of almost like the modern day a dinosaur Serengeti with so many different dinosaurs in the field that was there. I don't know, something like that would have really, circle of life with dinosaur type thing.
Yeah, the perfect moment. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, the one scene in the cave with the little technology thing, the imaging thing, I thought was a really clever scene.
Mm-hmm.
But then but a negative thing I did notice, they reused that cave set at the end for the cliff. It was the exact same.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, where they were the lights. Yeah. So that was the
for the most part, the sets were very impressive.
Yes.
And the CGI was flawless.
Yeah, the CGI was beautiful.
It looked great. And then it was just that moment. I was like, you've been doing good the whole time. This is clearly the same set. But it was a very brief moment. So it wasn't.
It was whatever.
Go see it. I mean, that's what I would just say. Just go see it. It's a good show. It's a good show that you're not going to regret seeing. It's just entertainment. It's not trying to push a message. It's not trying to push
not at all. That was refreshing.
It was a movie. It was a good, fun movie.
And the ending was the best thing of the movie. Like the whole ending sequence.
Everything paid off. It was like
when
boom, boom, boom,
there was
boom,
a
boom,
specific
boom.
scene, and I just want to talk about. I think I'm not spoiling anything. But there's a scene where there's a projector or there's like a hologram of the daughter, and then there's like this dinosaur just trying to bite the hologram. I thought that was such an impactful scene because Adam Driver did such a great performance.
He did a
great actor. He's a great actor.
Girl too. Both of them were just selling it the whole time.
Yeah. And you didn't. The thing with solo movies like this, because you can argue that this is a solo movie. This guy is carrying the whole movie literally. The lack of dialogue was not bothering. I was like, the music was well done for because you had no dialogue. You had to have a lot of music. There's a lot of music in this movie, and it all fits. It's not great. It's decent. Is generic a little bit, but it fits, and that's important.
It was fun. It was a fun movie.
Oh, one more complaint. There was at the beginning of the movie, the sound design was a little bit off. When he was wandering through the swamp, that they kept making dinosaur noises when there clearly weren't any dinosaurs close by. Like it should have been like further off, like echoes, and you're like, you're doing this to scare the audience, and I get why you're doing it, and I wish that you weren't. I wish it was more realistic, and that I'm hearing dinosaur noises off in the distance, because there clearly wasn't any dinosaurs in the scene, but they wanted the dinosaur noise so that when he looks down and sees the track, oh, a dinosaur noise, and you're like,
Yeah, and
so that bothered me a little bit. Minor complaint.
Something else I didn't like is the cliches, and I know it's really hard to be original, but come on, the same cliches of the hero hurting himself in the gut, and having to carry a wound, and the wound getting worse. That kind of things, or the sacrifice, the cliche of the heroic sacrifice, and all of those things.
What was silly about that is that he used the freeze spray thing to seal the wound, and then didn't wrap it with any gauze.
No,
but they showed him open the drawer, pull out a bunch of gauze and throw it away, and then grab the freeze stuff to just freeze. And I'm like, that's great, but then wrap the wound. Wrap it.
Yeah, it was not like the worst wound, but when it got infected, it looked really, really awful. And I was like, okay, this guy.
And it's all his fault.
This guy didn't even.
Wound.
What the hell? Yeah, I was like, he discarded a lot of bandages and healing material.
That's a good one. I like it. That was solid.
But I really, really enjoyed it, and it's been a while. It's been a while that there's with a movie that doesn't try to teach you that you're evil because you're white. Those
it's
things.
Also it's a fun dinosaur movie. It's no Jurassic Park, but I would say it's better than all of the sequels.
It's better than Jurassic World, yeah, for sure. And it only has 2 actors.
Nice.
Imagine that. I want to look for the budget, because I'm really interested, because
it wasn't big.
No, and they did it. They really used every single penny.
It's been shelved for 2 years. This movie was done 2 years ago.
Oh, it explains a lot, because yeah. It was when Driver was really, 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 really famous.
For some reason, they just never released it.
Well, 2 years ago would have been pandemic
COVID
stuff.
Pandemic.
Yeah, the budget was $45 million, so we'll see.
No way.
Well, I mean,
I believe it. They only paid 2 actors, and then the set people and everything. So, and I mean, actors. Despite what people think, actors make a lot of money. Actors are 25-30% of the freaking cost of a show.
The rest of that money, you can see it on screen. It's in the sets.
It's
the CGI.
It's amazing.
It looks really good. Yeah.
I've seen $40 million movies that are dog. Like, Jesus, this makes it even better. Like, knowing the budget, it makes it even better.
This movie makes Marvel embarrassing.
It does.
It makes Quantum Mania look horrible.
On a complete other note, but movie related, I just wanted to do this for Mexa. I went and saw. I saw Pooh, Blood and Honey. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
It's so bad.
I saw that. Mwah. That show is so bad. I mean, it is
terribly done. It's like not even well made, but it's hilarious to watch.
So funny.
So bad. And the gore in it, like the gory scenes are so, it's like something out of a Saw movie. Like,
oh gosh,
it is so over the top.
Oh. I talked about it a handful of weeks ago. Maybe a month ago now, when I went and saw it, because it was, I think, February 23rd. Like one day it was out everywhere, and then I think it's been in some limited places since. Oh man, the scene with the one friend in the hot tub, and like, oh my gosh,
Piglet,
like, yeah. But then like the whole like, oh, are you trying to stalk my friend? Nah, you're not gonna ruin my vacation. And she goes back in the stupid. Oh my god. Oh.
Yeah.
Like the scene where they're like walking in on Christopher Robin, and just like drags out. He's just sitting there going like, no, and they keep coming. No, and they keep coming. No. Like, what is going on?
Every second of that movie is just hilarious. Is
it Dane Cook that does the joke? Is it Dane Cook that does the joke about the Nightmare, or I Know What You Did Last Summer comedy? You know, the girl walks in and opens the door and it's all super scary. And she's like, what's going on? Is everything okay? I'm going to get naked and take a shower. I hope there's not a serial killer in this house. Like, that was the whole movie. It was
gosh.
phenomenally bad. I loved
it was
it.
awful, but it was hilarious.
I loved it.
On
It
another
was
similarly, unrelated but related because it's a movie. This last week, my wife and I decided to watch The Princess Bride, which amazing movie.
Oh,
And I
Have you not
realized,
seen it?
we've seen it. We love that movie. We watched it
Okay.
because we love that movie. But I realized, sneaky Disney. Fox, but now it's on Disney Plus. They've snuck an F word in there.
Did they
What?
really?
Sort of. So okay, you guys know the scene after she's been rescued and they go through the fire swamp and she's taken back and they're cleaning out the thieves' forest, right? And Inigo they're having trouble with Inigo and he's there outside the bar saying, "I'm not going to be moved. I'm going to be staying here."
Yeah.
The first brute comes around the corner and says, "Ho there," and Inigo says, "I do not budge. Keep your ho there."
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Spanish.
Keep your ho there.
Ho there.
Yeah.
And actually, if you put on the subtitles, it actually spells it Joder, like joder. They put the Spanish F word in in the Princess Bride.
Gotcha.
Wow.
I'm just like, and it's perfect too because he's a Spaniard and he's basically saying like, keep your FU. Like it was awesome. That's the first time I've noticed that. I was watching. I'm like, oh my gosh, did they really? So that was a fun little revelation that they've got a nice little F word in the middle of the Princess Bride. You keep your ho there.
That's a good movie.
And now we're going to be demonetized because Bearded swore on the channel.
Thank you.
That's
Thanks for
insane.
that.
they don't care about Spanish. They don't understand them.
He
They don't
swore
know.
in
Yeah, bro, I've been swearing in Mexican like in every video. Like,
Yeah, there was that one episode where we just went off and no one cared. Yeah, well, I'm excited for next month. The extended edition of Return of the King is coming to theaters.
Yeah, that'll be.
I'm gonna go
Oh,
see that.
okay.
I'm gonna go see that with a couple of my friends. Not anyone here. My other group of friends. They invited
Oh,
me.
okay.
I mean, if you guys
Oh,
want to
okay.
tag along,
I see how it
Okay.
is.
it's weird when friends group
Up yours too, Alan.
Yeah, look, it's weird when different friend groups mix. Okay.
Corwin, the correct line was, "You keep your ho there."
You keep your ho there.
Wow.
No, I'm excited to see that. I might, and I'll probably binge the first two movies, and then.
Oh yeah.
It's been a spell, so you gotta.
Is it the same one that is on HBO Max or no?
I don't.
extended ones?
Are they out? I don't
They have the
Whatever the
extended
3.5
one
to
because
4 hour
I
version.
have
That
them
was
on.
like the ones-
I don't know because I have them on Blu-ray, so that's how I watch them.
I don't
Yeah.
know because the first time I saw them was I only watched the extended edition because I wanted to get everything about it.
Yeah.
So I didn't even I hadn't watched the original. Well, I watched them when I was a kid, but I don't really remember.
Well, the extended's the best way to watch it anyway.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. It'll be cool to see the extended in theater though, because that it's not a thing you can experience.
You guys are lucky with your re-remixes, bro. We still have Avatar in our on our freaking cinemas here for
I think we've still got it.
4 months or now 3 months now.
I think there's still a few theaters that are
Yeah,
playing
I think there's
Avatar
a few.
here in the States.
No, but here every damn theater has Avatar. At least one.
Well, there's nothing really to
screening.
replace it with, if we're being totally honest.
And nowadays,
not.
well, there's a lot. Shazam.
I'm excited for Shazam, but I've not been hearing great things, but I'm still excited.
Yeah,
for
speaking
it
of
anyway.
Shazam, I ended the poll that said, should
Mhm.
we even bother watching Shazam 2? And it's a 50-50 split.
Mark Clark was asking for somebody to vote twice to break the tie.
Yeah, I have to end the polls eventually because I did polls on other episodes that I left open, and it deletes them if you don't end the poll. So, why is some kind
Oh, Mark, it's really hard for a Mexican to go to the United States legally. It's easier to get illegally to the United States for some reason. I don't understand. If you come illegally, you also get SNAP benefits, food stamps, whatever you want, free money from the government.
See, we just need to find you a nice girl to get married to. So
There you go.
Hey, I don't have
I'll set up a Tinder account for you.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not picky with that stuff. I don't see age.
Just shapeless blobs.
All right.
Mhm.
Well, we've got Bad Takes and we've got Mandalorian season 3, and I did finish watching History of the World Part 2. There's not a lot to talk about there.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God, because I forgot to. Yeah. Huh.
Don't watch
don't.
episode 4. It's really not worth watching the rest. There
Alright.
was
No,
one
episode
sketch.
3, I think it was.
It's 4.
Yeah.
4.
David,
The 3 is the
episode
worst one.
4. You're
Okay.
so wrong.
The 3 is the
remember.
one that's
one
woke.
of them. There was one really good episode in the first.
We
half,
talked about
and there
this
was
yesterday,
one really good
and you
episode
were
in the
wrong
second half.
in
The
person
rest of it was
yesterday.
kind of meh.
You were wrong then too. It's episode 4 is the one worth watching. That's the
Okay.
Jesus, but it's the Notebook sketch, which is hilarious. I watched the rest of the 4 episodes. There was and it was the rest of the last half of the show was just more Shirley, and it's so boring. It takes over the entire show, and there's not a single joke that's ever said. It's so disappointing and boring.
The only funny part in the whole Shirley sketch, all throughout the entire series, is the very last scene of Shirley, where the Richard Nixon people are sneaking into the Democratic convention with face masks on.
Yeah,
And that was the only funny gag in the entire thing.
it was the Watergate scandal, and
Yeah.
and they could have done some interesting stuff with the Watergate scandal, and they didn't.
Right.
Yeah, it was horrible, and the Shirley sketch ends with them cussing out her husband for no reason.
Oh yeah,
They just say "F you, you're a man, F you, F you, F you," and you're like,
it was really weird.
it comes out of nowhere. You're like, what is this for? It was really boring. The only other sketch that I thought was interesting was another Jesus sketch, which while it was funny, it was also derivative of the ones that they'd already done. It was like, it's supposed to be the history of the world, not the history
Yeah.
of Jesus.
It
And,
also
and
went
all
on
of their
too
sketches
long.
were about Jesus. I thought what they did a parallel between the Last Supper and the Beatles recording their rooftop sessions.
Wait, they did a Beatles one? What's the episode? I just love the Beatles, so
It's I think it's like 3 different episodes.
Yeah.
Oh
it's,
my God.
It's stretched way
It's
too long.
stretched out.
It was a
It's
funny
very
idea.
funny.
It just
It's a funny idea.
It didn't pull off. Yeah.
Where the apostles are the Beatles, and they're recording the Last Supper sessions that they're going to play on the. It's clever. It's pretty funny. David didn't love it. I liked it, but it's not worth watching the rest of the crap.
It was
It's
not
so
worth it.
disappointing.
I did like the Council of Nicaea though. That part was freaking hilarious.
I didn't. No, I hated it. I hated the Council of Nicaea. It was so woke. It was so
but
woke.
when they came back with their whitewashed Jesus and their
I hated
tribute commercial thing, like, oh yeah, that's the Christianity. I thought that was great.
No, it just solidified the fact that that Wanda Sykes saw it as important to show that Jesus was black rather.
Oh
than
yeah, I remember that.
rather than it just being funny, because they're like, oh yeah, we can't have a black Jesus. It's going to be a white one instead. And you're like, that he was kind of white. Jews are kind of white. They're a little bit tan, okay, but they are kind of white, okay.
They're darker than the Anglicans, but that's
Yeah, Jesus is like my color, like something like that.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And now I'm 26, by the way.
26. If we're looking for females.
No, you can look at. Please, older.
Males too?
Don't make
Okay.
no. Don't make them 26, please. 26-year-olds are not that mature. Mature, yeah.
He's a cougar hunter. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there's lots of cougars in Utah, so that's funny because it's BYU Cougars, but also there are physical. There are actual cougars. That's why BYU their mascot is the cougar.
I'm pretty sure there's also a lot of cougars there too. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh my
All
God.
different varieties.
Yeah, but the Last of Us, the History of the World Part 2 was just.
So you don't have to watch
come
it.
together.
Here's what was
I was
funny
gonna say
about
History of the
the
World Part
Beatles
2.
episode.
Part 2 was
The Beatles skit was the funniest part was they're all talking in their British accents and they're doing this, they're recording their sermons, right? And it's kind of entertaining, and they're talking like, the Beatles, and one of them, Jesus turns to Mary and calls her Yoko, And she's like, what did you call me? You called me Yoko? It's like, no, I said Mary. And he's like, no, you called me Yoko. It's like,
Oh,
"Look,
Mary Magdalene.
Don't
okay.
get all bent out of shape about it. It's not exactly a 1-to-1 comparison, okay? There's more apostles than there are Beatles. It's not a 1-to-1 comparison, okay? But
I mean,
but if we had to do the comparison, you're obviously the Yoko in this position.
she was just a stripper, right? Like, she wasn't bad. She wasn't some bad person. She was just a hoe.
It was kind of funny. But it's not worth it at all. Watch episode 4 and you can stop there. That's History of the World Part 2. Mel Gibson isn't in it. He was hardly involved, which is a shame because they kind of made it sound like he was heavily involved, and he was not.
You mean Mel Brooks, not Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson. Mel Brooks.
Mel Gibson also apparently is not in it. Just
Mel Gibson is not in it. Shocking, right?
Yeah. It was just disappointing.
Yep, and the opening bit with Mel Brooks being, buffed and stuff. That was so lame.
So, do you want to do bad takes or Mando?
Bad takes because I don't know anything about the Mando.
Okay, before
So
we
never-
do that,
Bad taste because I'm gonna have to get off soon. I've got to wake up at 4 a.m. for work.
Oh
so,
damn!
Yeah.
to never do a British accent again. I wasn't doing a British accent. I was doing the Beatles. That's how it sounds in the. I was
John
doing
Lennon.
an accurate. I was doing a very accurate impression of what they do in the episode. Thank you very much. I can do a better British accent, but that's not what I was going for.
Oh, why you sound like a Donald Trump was from London or something like that?
Because that's what the Beatles sound like. I was mimicking their mimicry. Okay, I know how to do a better British accent. Okay,
Well, let's hear it, bro.
I just got paid $2 to not do it. Okay, I don't want to get a charge back.
Yeah, that's a big bucks, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say this needs to be a subscription though. In order for you to continue not doing the British accent, he has to keep paying you $2 every month, or else.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Oh yeah, we didn't sell. It came up earlier, but we were busy talking about it. Mark Clark's been a member for 5 months. Awesome.
Woo!
Yay!
So that's what those birthday cakes were for. But someone else was talking and we didn't interrupt it. Anyway, okay, before we do bad takes, books real quick. I haven't read anything last week. I finished reading I finished reading Equal Rights, and it was okay. It's kind of on par with The Color of Magic. It's one of my least favorite Terry Pratchett's. It's not bad in any way. It's just not as good as the ones I've been reading. And I started reading Children of the Mind. I'm only an hour in, but it's been a busy week. I will say, though, I did get this in the mail. Dragon Thief. This book, okay, I don't know if it's good, okay? I'm not endorsing it yet. I'm going to read it and tell you if it's good. But this book is written by 2 good friends of mine. I know them. Blake and Raven Penn. It's not their real name, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I know them in person. They're 2 really cool people I've done improv with. I've played D&D with them. An awesome couple that I know in real life. And they wrote a freaking book. It's called Dragon Thief. It's part of the Skystone Chronicles. This is book 1.
Yeah, the cover is awesome.
That is not showing up very well.
Awesome cover.
Yeah, I never seen like something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So she did the artwork herself.
Wow.
And they both wrote the book together, and it's thick.
Small, yeah.
It's a thick book. It's super impressive. This is their first book. It's about 500 pages, but it's like it's really small.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a 700 page book, and it's got illustrations and everything. They've got a little magic chart, very Brandon Sanderson-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I'm super excited to read the
book.
book.
Whoa, I love when they do that. I love when they do
This
that.
is a thick boy, and it's
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
good.
Did they self-publish or is it?
It's self-published. They're planning 4 books. Like they already have like the plot points on the website marked out for the next 4. But this one just came out this month. I'm super excited to read it. I read the first chapter to my son Elliot, and it's a little bit too dense for for him. He's only 7. He's only 7, but it's more YA focused, but it's not like a kid book. It's mature.
Cool. Looks
so
good.
yeah. The link if you want to buy it is in the description. I didn't link their website, but you can find the website on the Amazon page too. So I didn't want 2 links. Okay. Anyway, don't buy it and read it and then get mad at me because it's not good, because I don't know if it's good yet. I haven't read it, but they're good friends and it looks freaking cool. And I'm excited to read it. It's going to take me a long time because they don't have an audiobook yet. They're working on one, but I'm a slow reader. Okay. So if you want me to review it faster, do an audiobook.
Oh man, I would love to get all those kind of books in Mexico. It's just so hard to get them in English. It's so annoying. The only damn books that I can get in English.
I don't think this is in any other language. So,
you mean Spanish?
No, but the only books that I can get in English are freaking Stephen King books, and I hate. Well, I don't hate that guy, but I'm sick. I'm sick of reading Carrie or It.
Yep.
I'm sick of it.
So you do need books. So just
Mark Clark's gonna wait till the whole series is out so we can buy book 2 and start there.
Yep.
That's
and
right.
drop it.
I did see in the chat he read Speaker of the Dead.
Yeah, I thought you said you
recently, so-
started it, but now it says you've read it.
Fast read.
Love Speaker of the Dead. Yeah, so next week I'm gonna hopefully finish Children of the Mind. It's a shorter one, so.
I've only made a little bit of progress in the Hitchhiker series, so I'm on Life, the Universe, and Everything right now. So I've been making my way through that, and then I'll be kicking into Ender's Game. And the rest
It's
of
good.
those, and see if I can catch up
I
again.
love Xenocide. It was fun.
So good.
Do Brander Anderson has like Sanderson, sorry, has like books in Spanish or like translation?
Oh
or
yeah, he
something?
has.
I think he's got several,
translations.
a
Yes.
little more translated at least.
I mean, at least I can look for those, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same. It's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Also, so does Patrick Rothfuss. He has all of his are in Spanish too.
For real. It's just that people in Mexico that do the translation, or people in Spain where the translation are the worst. They don't care about English. They don't care about the culture. They don't care about the that's why it's so bad to watch American movies with subtitles in Spanish. Is just they make no sense. They basically saying something else. And it's so I hate it. I really hate it. I'm like the guy that spends the whole time complaining about the subtitles. He's like, okay, that's not the word, that's not it. Doesn't even make any sense. But
Yeah, that's a huge thing. That the differences between the different countries and areas and regions, and the way that you use Spanish and the words that you'll use. That I think we've talked about that before. We're basically you're basically swearing at somebody, but it's a benign word in another country. Yeah,
exactly. Or even the inflection, can change a lot in Spanish specifically. But yeah, I hate it.
That between the UK and America, but we also have enough like interaction that we know that like, oh, they just don't see that as a swear word or like whatever.
Exactly.
Well, that's it for books then. Mark, I hope you liked Speaker for the Dead. I absolutely loved it, and you should keep reading because Xenocide is even better and a lot darker. It gets pretty dark. I wasn't expecting it. Anyway, bad takes. Here we go, everybody.
Screen rants. Bad takes.
Mandalorian season 3 premiere viewership is disappointing.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have
almost as
crapped the
disappointing
bed so much with the previous shows.
Almost as disappointing as the Mandalorian season 3.
We'll get to it, but I actually liked this last episode.
I hated it.
Same.
I hated it.
Loved it. Anyway,
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to talk about that a little later, I think.
Didn't see it, so I'm gonna log off.
The first 2 really bugged me though.
Season 3 premiered to only 1.5 million views.
Yeah, even the Oscars had better damn viewership.
Ouch.
Boba Fett.
Ouch.
Boba Fett was 2% higher than this. If you want specific numbers, this is down 25% from season 2. This is the delayed gratification that we're talking about. This is the
Delayed
you
consequences.
don't see the consequences until the next thing comes out, right?
Yep.
We didn't see the consequences of The Last Jedi and Solo until the next movie came out. Okay, people spent their money and realized it was crap, and then they didn't go to the next one. Okay,
Yeah.
so
See,
we
that's
are
the
currently
problem
seeing
this is suffering with.
we are
More
seeing
than the
the
fact that this season is not doing well, is not good. It isn't good. It hasn't been great. But more than that, it's the fact that the previous things have been so bad, which is why Obi-Wan and Boba Fett had better debuts, because Mandalorian season 2 was so good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, see, it's only getting what Book of Boba Fett was getting, 1.5 million.
Yeah.
It's
And
that's
same
it.
thing with Andor too. Andor is some of the best Star Wars I have seen since the original trilogy, and nobody watched it because Boba Fett was so bad.
I mean, come on,
Yeah,
the prequels are a little bit better than Andor. I mean, the third one.
The third one is really good.
I like the
Yeah,
prequels. People
I
bash
like
on them all the
prequels,
time.
too. They have
I
a-
like
I
the-
like the
like them,
prequels.
but I read
I
all the problems.
love the
I still
prequel
love 'em.
because I saw them as a kid and I was so full of wonder. It was insane. I was blown away.
People hate on Jar Jar Binks, and then I
He
just
was-
say, well,
yeah.
what the heck about the Ewoks? 'Cause,
No,
maybe he
Yeah.
speaks funny,
Yeah.
but at least the teddy bear
Yo.
isn't killing a dude with a blaster and armor. Shut the
Yo,
hell up.
what the hell with Roku? What's the name of the guy?
Grogu.
Rogu. F that guy. I said it before, but I hate that guy. Hate Mini Yoda.
Grogu.
yeah.
Okay, so here's a good show to compare it to. The problem is that these streaming shows lie about their numbers, right? So they're always going to try and inflate them, and they don't give us actual data. But so I'm going to compare it to a show that actually has Nielsen ratings. And I think it's a comparable show because it started off strong and then people stopped watching, which was The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, started off real strong. The first season, so this is the first season, 5 million viewers, right? There was interest, and it was pretty steady the whole time. 5 million viewers the whole time. Now, because it performed so well, season 2 grew in viewership. That means you did a good job, and
And
it
season two
continued
is-
to grow. Season 3, 10 million views. It peaks around 17 millions, but it stayed strong for season 4, season 5, season 6. It started to fall, but that's still huge growth from season 1, right?
Yeah.
So it peaks at around 17 million views, and it holds it for the whole season, mostly, right? That's impressive.
Mhm. What happened to TV shows? Like people used to watch a lot of TV shows, like a lot, and there were these crazy amounts of numbers, and perhaps the only thing that can amount to that right now is House of the Dragon. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we keep
Quality.
going, season 6 drops a little bit, but you're still getting good quality numbers. Season 7 started with a lot of hype. People realized it wasn't that good, and it immediately dropped down to 10 million. Okay.
Mhm.
Then you start to see the decline. Season
Yeah.
8, you get 10 million. You're still holding on. Season 9, 5 million the whole time. Season 10, from 4 million to 2 million. Season 11,
Oh my gosh,
you're hovering at.
Yeah, there's
1
a season 11.
that's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I stopped watching Walking Dead around the time
Season 3,
Negan got
season
involved.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Season 4 was like the final.
What's embarrassing is that at its worst, season 11, it's still performing better than The Mandalorian is right now.
Oof,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
rough.
I think the other thing you've got to remember though on that, even though it's bad, is Walking Dead was on TV. You could tune in and watch it.
But this is 2021.
Mandalorian, you have to have, which a lot of people do, but you have to have Disney Plus. I think
Yeah.
that.
But take
And
this
I've-
into consideration. The Mandalorian is freaking Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It should be getting way better numbers than The Walking Dead.
Yeah, just for the name. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and that's due to the The sequels. That's due to the sequels. That's due to things
Yep.
like the Book of Boba Fett. Star Wars fans and we've talked about this before on the show. I don't know how many times back. I mean, probably a year or two back at this point. But Kathleen Kennedy's whole, we'll make new Star Wars fans. No, you won't, because the stuff you're putting out is garbage. And you already had a franchise worth $1 billion. Star Wars was how old? With nothing new when Disney bought it. And it was still making over $1 billion a year from fans. And now they're putting out this stuff and they're hemorrhaging money. And it's because Kathleen Kennedy and the rest of the people that are involved in Star Wars that have their hands in it. They've made trash, and the new fans know that it's trash, and the old fans like me don't give a shit.
Wait, Grey's Anatomy continues? What?
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's still going
Grey's Anatomy is
Everyone's so old.
Grey's
What?
Anatomy is on season
What?
19, and they're still averaging almost 4 million views an episode.
What?
My wife watches that show religiously. It is terrible. It's
They're
terrible.
doing better than Star Wars.
Yeah,
Where
that's pretty
and
sad.
I beg again, where are the new fans? Where is the new fans?
And Grey's Anatomy gets like new fans probably, every day, and Star Wars loses fans every day.
Yep.
Talk about
Jesus.
a missed opportunity. Anyway,
Jesus.
here's another bad take. This is not. What is this?
What?
I was gonna say, talking about
It's
Grey's Anatomy.
This is not what I pulled up.
maybe an ad.
Right, sure.
Yeah, maybe that's an
No.
ad or something.
Google's spying on
You're a
you.
Grey's Anatomy fan, it looks like. Huh?
Hold on, no.
That's really weird. Yeah,
No,
what
because
the
I
hell?
had two. See, I have another article here from the same place, but I had two articles from this website, and this is not one of them. Start. What is it? Start facts. Oh my god!
What the?
I did not pull this article up, but there's no back and forth. Hold on.
Quit lying. You
See how it's
pulled it up.
reloaded?
It's okay. You're a Grey's Anatomy fan, Alan. We
Yeah,
get
because I
it. You
saw
have
it
to
load up,
hide
but
it.
it even had that Jesse Williams name on the tab before.
Yeah, you must have accidentally hit shift click on the previous tab or something.
This is what it was.
Oh, okay.
What
That's
the
weird.
heck? But you
That's
couldn't go
weird.
back or forth.
Uh-huh.
There was
That
no.
is very weird.
Anyway, someone just texted me. This is a bad take. Elizabeth Olsen wants a redemption arc. I would like an MCU redemption arc.
I would like the MCU just to go away.
But it's not even like, oh, I want to see my character repentant and sorrowful. No, it's not that. It's worse. It's where is it? Hold on. No.
Is that the humor part?
Feel like there's a lot of humor? No. Perhaps due to the sudden jump to character motivation? No.
However,
Oh, okay.
because of the multiverse, fans can expect a comeback.
From almost any other.
So you don't even want the character redeemed, you just want the character back.
Reboot it. Mm-hmm.
It's the multiverse. You can do anything you want.
To be fair, that is what
that's
the
kind of
article
like-
writer is saying. Not
That's
what
kind
she
of
is
like
saying.
our complaint with the multiverse is you can do whatever you want and the stakes don't matter.
Yeah.
Who's MCU
There's even
anyway?
talk about bringing Robert Downey Jr. back.
Yep,
Oh
we
my
talked
God.
about that last week or 2 weeks ago. Anyway, it's a bad take. There's more. So Michelle Yeoh wins the Oscar for Best Actress, making history as the first person who identifies as Asian to win the award.
What?
I identify as Asian.
Have you won an Oscar though?
I identify as an Oscar winner.
Ah,
Mhm.
there we go.
I identify as an Asian Oscar winner.
Now, to be clear, they are talking about there are other Asians who have won Oscars, but they had to hide their Asian identity. They weren't out as Asian. Doesn't make
That
it
is
better.
like, it's like, come on, where they're making their eyes bigger or what? It's like,
Yeah.
how?
That's weird.
This is silly. This has been silly for a long time, and it's getting worse.
But
Stop
what
being
this is,
so silly, and we're just this is not reality anymore. And I'm tired of people thinking that they need to pander to this kind of behavior. I'm tired of people who are scared to call this out for what it is. Like it, and I admit it is scary. It's scary for me to be on YouTube calling this stuff out. I'm afraid of getting those hateful comments and losing subscribers. But I realized this week, which is why I wrote Hollywood Secret, I remembered the scripture, to what profiteth a man if he gain the world and lose his soul. So I don't care. I'm standing up for what's right. If you want to call me a bigot, good on you. But it's part of my identity. It's part of my religion. I have values, and Hollywood doesn't.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
Can I identify as white to start calling white people
to come to immigrate to the United States?
No, I mean that's not gonna work.
Just identify as American, dude.
They want them brownies.
Okay, it's gonna get a little weirder.
Oh, just real quick, I will say Everything Everywhere All at Once winning tons of Oscars. That was awesome.
Oh yeah,
it was probably the best movie that was presented at the Oscars. It was a low bar, but it was a good movie.
It had a good message to it too.
Yeah, it was good.
I love Ki-Hu Kwan's message. Nice. I know it's
Everything Everywhere All at Once is a
nice.
good. Everywhere All at Once is a good example of how to do diversity and inclusion.
And
it's a good story. It's an original story. You aren't replacing anything. You wanted to tell a story about these Asians and about about LGBT community, and it was a good story. And I liked it. I'm not a bigot. Coffee is racist now. Drinking coffee perpetuates white supremacy, which leads us to a whole new thread given to us by Greg. All of the things that are racist now. You guys ready for the ride?
Yes.
Is the word picnic racist? How to deal with questions about language right now. Peanut butter and jelly and racism.
I love Greg. He's so funny.
Girl Guides of Canada rename brownies to be more inclusive. Because I guess it's a slur. Civil rights groups say school lunch programs, dairy emphasis is racist. That's right.
Wow.
Milk is racist, probably
Milk.
because it's white.
There is chocolate milk, though, guys.
American cycling has a racism problem.
Holy moly.
Meet the black women pushing for equality in swimming. Yeah, right. That we all know no one's doing that. Running is too white. It doesn't have to be. There we go. Here's the coffee is racist. Pantry porn.
I can hear my coming through.
A trend rooted in racist, sexist behavior, says a person teaching your children thinks that posting videos about organizing your kitchen is racist.
Wow.
I am so sick of this bull crap. This doesn't do anything.
This is amazing.
This does not help minorities. Okay, this belittles actual racism. This is a joke
100%.
that makes real issues. It makes light of real racism and real issues, and this can only serve to divide people. You are creating new racists when you do this crap.
Yeah, because anyone that reads those articles and believe them, they are like, okay, I'm not going to drink milk anymore because it's racist. I'm not going to, and they segregate themselves from things where they shouldn't.
It's such a disconnect from reality. Like it really is a disconnect from reality.
Another professor declares white women's pantries is racist. That's the same one. Same one.
Yeah.
Okay. Cleanliness upholds racism. That's sad. That's really sad.
That's really hurtful for people that are going through, issues with keeping themselves clean. It's really hard, and when you are depressed, I've been depressed, and it's really hard to keep your things clean and in order. Part of growing up and part of getting over those feelings is actually going and clean your damn room.
Step one is to admit you have a problem.
Exactly, and it makes no sense that they are trying literally to hurt people. And I will bet that probably a lot of dark and brown people are depressed out there, and they are struggling to find any meaning in their life, and these kind of things just going to
this is a
kill
great
them.
point. Yeah, I've never seen any other race clean stuff. If you actually think that, you are the racist. PETA says phrases like "bringing home the bacon" are comparable to racism and homophobia.
But that's what I expect out of freaking
All
PETA.
of Shakespeare's plays are about race.
Oh my God,
Philosophies,
Othello is
philosophies,
racist.
systemic racism, because only white people have good ideas. Welsh language use branded racist and excludes minorities, finds reports. Just like Spanish is racist now because it's a gendered language, which is why they invented the term Latin X, which is incredibly insulting to Mexicans, to Hispanics. Sorry.
To Hispanics. It's incredibly insulting to the third most, or is Spanish the third or second most spoken language in the world?
Second.
Third.
No, third.
Second.
It's
There's
third.
Chinese and then English, and then
Mandarin's
Yeah.
first, is English second, and then
English is
Spanish
second,
is
then
third. Is that what it is?
I believe so. Yeah.
The white supremacist origins of exercise and 6 other surprising facts about the history of physical fitness. Being healthy is racist, which is weird because America is fatter than it should be. America is not in shape right now.
Damn, I wish I was racist so
I don't
could be in
understand
great
how
shape.
physical fitness is racist.
Yeah.
The Masters tradition is rooted in racism.
Yeah.
Like education is racist. Do you not realize how racist that sounds?
The second, the one below.
Is hunting too right? The energy system is inherently racist.
Oh my God.
Utilities
wait. Go.
calls for greater equity. Yeah.
Go back up. Did you just say the hunting is hunting to what?
Frankly, I think we should be hunting black people too. I'm all for equality there.
I just don't know where to start with that. Like, that is so bad.
Yeah, I don't think Native Americans like to hunt at all. Nah.
They understand. Well, let's just go back. They understand that, like, hunting and gathering was done clear up until maybe the realistically 120 years ago. It's still being done in Earth today. Like, there's still hunters and gatherers in Africa and in other places of very rural Asia and Russia and what about
the original
rainforests of Brazil? Are those tribes racist because they're hunting for their food? Who wrote this article so I can slap them?
Patrick Durkin.
Everybody knows that those Amazonians are white.
There's more. The racism and resilience behind today's salmon crisis.
Come on.
What?
I mean, to be fair, salmon is the whitest fish.
Salmon have been endangered my entire life. Here's what I didn't realize until I started reporting. AI can be racist, sexist, and creepy. What should we do about it? Chat GPT has been neutered so that it's so woke. Yeah, right. AI is racist. You guys are racist for neutering an AI. So have you guys know about this, right?
Yeah.
They patched Chat GPT to to support leftist ideology. You can say, hey, what are the bad things about President Donald Trump? And it will give you a list. And you say, what are the bad things about President Biden? And it will say, he's never done anything bad. Or I'm not allowed to say negative things about the president. Critics say monkeypox is a racist name.
Because it comes literally from monkeys.
If you see a black person and in your brain think, oh, look, a monkey, you are racist.
That is racist, though. I'll admit to that.
Racist, yeah.
The racist roots of fighting obesity.
And it continues. I wasn't looking at the screen.
The racist legacy
monkey.
Many birds carry.
Oh, birds are racist now.
Birders grapple with complicated past linked to slavery and white supremacy.
Oh, they're talking about the birds singing, so the black people would come from the mines or something like that, perhaps. I don't know.
Time is
I'm on my phone. That's the problem.
If time had a race, it would be white. White people own time.
The racial politics of time.
Literally, it says white people owe time. Time.
Well, you saw that it was that one institute had that list of things that were racist, and punctuality was on the list. Being on time was racist. The defining feature of being drafted into the black race is the inescapable robbery of time.
What the hell? What the hell?
They're spouting nonsense.
To make everyone feel welcome in skiing, it's time to change how we talk. Skiing's racist.
Snow is white, though.
CBT. Weed may not be the best fit for black patients seeking therapy.
May not be the best thing for anybody.
CBD. The compendium of things that are racist. Volume
No,
1.
CBT is a...
Oh, CBD. Yeah, what's CBT?
No, CBT, I think is it's like a system like that has the government for home attendance, something like I'm not sure, but I think it's for home attendance, for physical therapy, and for people that are old and senior citizens.
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
Wait, we can't criticize behavior. Yeah.
Yep.
This is great. This is the volume of things that are racist, part 1. This is how racist your air is. All right, these are people just responding now.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, master and slave. These are. It's a computer science term. You have
that is literally describing that relationship.
It's literally describing the relationship between a master and a slave. That's how you. It's part of computer programming. Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
Yep.
Oh goodness.
Eyewear's racist. Yeah. Okay, but that's the most of it, right?
The unbearable whiteness of hiking and how to solve it.
Racism in the great outdoors. Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I took a class in my my engineering degree, and it was literally engineering and ethics, and we discussed issues in the class. And one of the things that the professor brought up is like, oh, we have an outlet, and we call this a female, and then a plug is male, and that's sexist. Because everybody in the classroom is like, what are you talking about? It's literally functional descriptor of the thing.
Boys have to be
in all over the place.
It's used everywhere.
Girls have a vagina.
It's used everywhere, like in music. It's used everywhere. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous the thing they'll try to cram into everything, and none of the students were having it. We're like, why are we talking about this? This is so stupid. It was the joke of a class that I had to take. But
that's the thing, is it's just such the popular thing for the internet to say, like, oh, this is the thing that's going to get clicks, either because of angry people that are angry at it like us, or people that are like, oh, is there something wrong with, like, my wife's been rewatching The Good Place lately, but it reminds me, which is a good show.
Decent, yeah.
But it reminds me of like Chidi, and he's like, oh, the problem, the real thing that I did wrong was I learned that almond milk was problematic and not sustainable, and I kept doing. You're just like, you are coming up with, like, maybe it is not literally perfect and causing no problems ever anywhere in the world ever at any point in time in history. Okay, but the world is not going to be that easy. It's not going to be that simple. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to be like another level of privilege to be thinking of those things, like picnic races. Like, oof,
Yeah.
you
The
gotta
sad
be.
thing about this is all these articles are not just clickbait. Some of them,
No,
they said
these
they
are
were
real.
funded studies.
These are real
That
things.
people are spending taxpayer dollars to research the racism in XYZ. And it's
but again, like
ridiculous.
the titles are done in a very inflammatory
for
clickbaity
sure,
aspect,
for sure, yeah.
where they're trying to say like, oh, we found this as an interesting aspect of the history of this term or this other thing, or like we noticed that there's a lot of white people that do this thing. And
Come
they're saying,
on.
oh, that means it's racist. You're like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, the articles are probably brain dead. Yeah.
The articles are not much better, but they of course make it more inane by having the titles that are trying to say like, look at how I am tired of just how easily they just slap a label on, like, this is racist, this is sexist, this is bigoted, whatever, it's the dumbest thing.
Yep.
Well, with that, gentlemen, I'm gonna go to bed. Like I said, I gotta be up at 4 a.m. So
Peace out.
I'm gonna
See you,
I'm gonna go
bro.
get sleep. I appreciate it. It was good. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah,
Bye.
have a good one.
Bye.
See ya.
On that note, why is everything reloading? So on the Hollywood Secret train, Jimmy Kimmel, a new information about his best friend and personal chef and his ties to Jeffrey Epstein, are explaining something that happened a couple months ago when Aaron Rodgers was on a podcast. And he offhandedly mentioned, "Hey, did you guys hear the Epstein list is coming out?" And then Jimmy Kimmel made fun of him for wanting to see Epstein's client list, calling him a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, which doesn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy, seems like everyone should want to see that list.
Yeah, and then look if you.
Except for the people whose names are on
that
it.
list. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It seems like those are the only kinds of people who wouldn't want the list to come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you went like one day and you saw the horrible, disgusting thing that was going there, and you were like, okay, I'm not going to go again with this lunatic, then probably you don't mind if your name is on the list. You're like, okay, I wasn't there, but this guy probably has some. There's a saying in Mexico that says you have cola que te pisen, which basically means that you have a reputation that you're going to, people know that you did bad things, so they are going to go back to that and punish you for it.
A tail that people step on.
Yeah, exactly.
The literal translation is obviously.
Okay. I didn't know it was like a phrase.
No, it's not. I was translating the Spanish.
Oh yeah.
It obviously not 1-to-1. That's
exactly, that's the translation.
I would say what comes, maybe what goes around comes around.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe karma.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Idioms don't really translate very well.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't look good for Jimmy Kimmel. I know Hollywood. I know Jimmy Kimmel's secret. So there's that. Yeah, it's his best friend was part of Epstein's inner circle. He was his personal chef.
Holy.
Rainn Wilson, though, friggin' based, calls out the anti-Christian bias on The Last of Us. It was in regard to how they turned the pedo character. They turned him into a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
And when he saw that, he said, "I was watching the episode, and as soon as I saw him hold up a Bible, I knew he was the bad guy, and it pisses me off that we can't just have good, solid Christians." And freaking Rainn Wilson, man, I like this guy.
I just watched like
Battlestar Galactica and Truth.
I'm not joking. I literally watched The Office like 3 times, the whole show like 3 times, because I was so obsessed with Dwight character. Is such a good character. He's so funny. And well, Michael and Dwight, that's the only reason why I watched the show. Mindy Kaling is so annoying in the show that I want to blow my things out.
At least she's in small doses.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, oh my god, it's just die.
Like, yeah, like that is
And
kind of the
she was
point
meant
of her
to be
character.
annoying.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but
She was
holy
written to
moly,
be
like-
intentionally annoying in that show. So,
But you know,
Yeah.
she's good at the role, so
yeah.
she doesn't need to act to do it.
Yeah, I love Rainn Wilson. He's a genius of comedy.
Rainn Wilson's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. One more bad take. Netflix's Witcher keeps betraying the fans of the original books, but it's actually justified.
He'll be gone!
It was almost a good take, but they had to screw it up.
Oh my gosh. The reasoning I read through it, it's because, well, the books eventually start focusing less and less on Geralt and more
On Yennefer.
on no, not Yennefer, on Ciri.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, halfway through. Yeah, when she gets older and they're passing the like
yeah.
Eventually. Like,
that's the plot point is that they become parental figures to Ciri, and then they get to watch her go on adventures. But that's kind of the point of the books, and so they're justifying. So it was okay to start the show off not focusing on Geralt because eventually that's where the books end up. So the little screen time that he does have, we're going to take away from because they do it eventually in the books.
yeah. But we're not going to do it for the reason that they do it in the books, which makes sense in the books. We're just going to do it.
Yeah.
It's a bad take. What a shame. Henry Cavill has been done dirty by everyone in Hollywood, and I really, really hope his 40K show turns out to just be the most just kick butt, awesome, shoot 'em up space thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Either that or whatever Zack Snyder.
Hey, yeah, whatever Zack Snyder's up to,
We'll
man.
see.
Right?
I'm so curious. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Here's some memes. Man struggling to feed family. Just glad he could help bail out.
Yeah.
So glad about that one. Powerful military to allow troops to replace camo with colors of their gender identity flag.
Wait, that's the flag for the maps, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I think this is a brilliant idea. I'm just gonna leave it
Could
there.
not agree more. Go for it, man.
Yeah, they're gonna die, but you know, at least they're gonna die with their identity, wearing their colors, literally.
And this one
Goodness.
really hit a personal nerve, and I took great offense to, but it was too funny. Man disappointed to learn quoting Monty Python is not a marketable skill.
That is fake news.
Unless you're a YouTuber who focuses on memes and references to pop culture, because that's what I quoted a lot of Monty Python in my Rings of Power videos, and it made me some money, baby. That's called profitable. So suck it, Babylon B. You ain't got King Kong ain't got Babylon B on me.
By the way, The Holy Grail is one of my favorite movies all times.
It's so
I mean,
good.
Life of Brian is really good, and the messaging is way better. But Holy Grail is just hilarious.
Now I just want to watch Training Day. That's what I was quoting. The King Kong ain't got crap on me. But
yeah, I haven't watched anymore because I don't know where to find Monty Python other than Netflix.
that one's not
or-
Monty Python. That's not. That's a
Alrighty.
different thing. Yeah, but Monty Python's good. Good stuff.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I watched some of Mel Brooks.
Oh yeah, which one did you
Yeah.
watch?
I watched Spaceballs and I didn't like it. I
Oh,
am sorry about it. I
no.
didn't like it. I was going to watch the one of the vampire. I was thinking that that's probably more my style, but I don't know why I didn't like it. It's just that I've seen so many Star Wars spoof
Yeah.
Yeah.
that this was underwhelming. You know, after
kinda
watching
done to death. He was one of the first ones to rip.
Yeah,
on it,
but
so.
after watching the Family Guy one, I am not
Family Guy
obsessed.
ones are really good.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, I
Well-
love those. I've seen it like 30 times each. I love
One of
those.
the things
Oof.
with Spaceballs is, while it's primarily Star Wars, it does also kind of do a little bit of ripping on like Star Trek and a
Yeah.
handful other, you know.
But then I started
Aliens,
like
yeah.
thinking about
Yeah.
Spaceballs and to think that they probably didn't have any of the rights to do anything about Star Wars, so that's probably why I didn't like it. It's really nothing about Star Wars. It's just things similar to Star Wars, but they cannot really say the names or do the things or have the things happen. And Family Guy just had the full rights, and they were just doing jokes about it. So that's why I enjoy the Family Guy. Even the Killer Chicken. What? No, what's called?
Robot Chicken.
Robot Chicken. Robot Chicken.
They had some good Star Wars.
Yeah,
movies.
even those I enjoy. I was a fan of Robot Chicken when I was a kid. Nowadays, not anymore. But Jesus,
But even then, their
they
Star
were
Wars episode
good.
is really
No,
good.
the Star Wars episode was really, really good. Yeah.
The,
But it was better. The Family Guy one was better, and I don't know. I just love so much that parody of Star Wars. That Spaceballs was not like the best thing for me, but I'm going to watch the rest of it because they do seem pretty funny.
Yeah, I would do.
you at
Blazing
least
Saddles
liked the gig the bit where they watch Spaceballs the movie though, right?
Oh yeah,
They watch their own movie like that. That's great.
That was good.
That's so great. It was so.
Or
it
where
was
they're
so,
combing the desert,
That one, and
especially where that one ends. We
The,
ain't found.
the merchandising joke is my favorite joke.
Yeah. It's really clever. It's really clever. I'm going to give it that. It's just that
Brothers, sisters.
I don't know.
I can understand like not watching it with the nostalgia, and also like Rick Moranis, like that's a big nostalgia factor for a lot of American kids. That the actor who's playing Dark Helmet he's just a beloved actor who wasn't in a lot of movies, and Rick Moranis is the reason you watch that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the guy. I was wondering. I was like, is that Mike
Yeah.
Myers? Who's
No,
the guy?
he-
No,
he's-
Rick
he's the guy
Moranis.
from
Yeah.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh yeah.
Little Giants.
He was so good. He was so good. He
Yeah,
was
he's
the best.
So good. He
Him-
is an example of a great human being. Period. Because like he wasn't in a ton, but he was a well known and well respected and loved actor, and then he left to take care of his kids when his wife died. I think it was like he just stood up for some great stuff. He was just like, this is more important. My kids are more important.
Mhm.
He's
Yeah.
coming
It
back
was
now
Yeah.
but it's with Disney, so
Yeah.
And the other bit
But-
that I like is the s'mores.
Smorgasbord.
No, the
Oh, the
force,
Schwartz,
but
the
the Schwartz.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine.
Yeah, the Jewish force.
Yeah. It's good. I see what you're saying, Mexa, and I think coming at it today when Star Wars parodies are a dime a
Abound.
dozen,
Mhm.
I see where you're coming from. I would try Blazing Saddles or Young Frankenstein are personally my two favorite ones.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to
Young
really
Frankenstein, too.
watch it because I love this style. I love the
Yeah.
style of spoofing things. I love parodies.
Mhm.
I literally watch all the scary movies like 100 times. All of these movies. Disaster movie. I know people hate it. I love it because it's so bad. It's really funny. Epic movie. All those sort of kind of things. The 300
You watch
movie ones as
Airplane?
well. Oh my god! I
Airplane
want
is
to
good,
watch
yeah.
it, but I want to watch it, but
Been a
I
while.
cannot find it.
Yeah,
High
high
Anxiety
anxiety.
is
High
good.
anxiety is
I've seen
one of
most
my
of it,
one
yeah.
of my personal favorites.
Mhm.
It's not like the first one I'd recommend to someone who needs to watch
Including Mel
Mel
Brooks.
Brooks.
Yeah, all of my favorite series of parodies or spoofies, like the what is it called? The one with Charlie Sheen, the
Oh, Hot Shots.
Hot Shots. Oof, oof. I love the one
I
in
think
the
I've seen
second
the first one. I
part.
haven't seen part 2 or
Watch part 2 is funny. I really loved it. I was
I've
watching
heard
it.
more things good about part 2 than the
Have
one,
you
but I think I've only
seen-
the first one?
Hot Shots had the the bit that makes fun of Hollywood sex scenes.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they like,
Yeah, no,
like he cooks
it's so
breakfast
funny.
on her stomach, doesn't he?
Yeah, he cooks. So they make fun of the scene, where they're sensually like putting objects on the woman's body, and it's like hot and steamy, and it's so hot and steamy and hot shots that he starts cooking breakfast on her
Cracks an
stomach.
egg.
He fries an egg, cooks bacon. It is
I've seen that clip,
it is the best parody of sex scenes ever.
So
It's
good.
so good.
It's been forever since I have seen that, but I remember it to this day because it is hilarious.
Yeah, I actually want to watch that.
The other great gag in there is when it's making fun of Rambo and he runs out of bullets. So he reaches over, grabs a pile of bullets, and throws them. And
Oh, the chicken
his gun runs out. And everyone's just like, oh.
Yeah, my
That's
favorite
like
one's
also
when he
another
grabs
fun
the
one that's along the
chicken,
same
where he
line.
grabs the chicken like an arrow. That was, I don't know why that blew my mind, but I was like,
Yeah, I don't know if I haven't seen part two or if I'm just mixing them together in my mind, but I've definitely seen the first one.
Oh, you gotta watch part 2, yeah.
On that same vein, Top Secret is is really good. That's Val Kilmer. It's making fun of spy movies.
Okay.
There is a wonderful. The finale of that movie has an underwater fight scene. It's a tavern brawl underwater. They fall into the water, and there's a tavern with like people playing cards, and they do the entire fight scene underwater, and it's so funny. Like he grabs a chair, breaks it over the guy. Like it is incredible.
Yeah. I love it because I really need this kind of recommendations for movies, because I've been trying to watch every comedy, spoof type of movie parody, and it's really hard for me to find them. But now with these recommendations, with these suggestions, it's going to be a fun week. Let me tell you that.
Naked Gun was another pretty good parody. That was the idea.
There's several of those. I think there's Naked Gun 2.5, and
there's a couple.
3 and a third, and things like that too. Yeah.
Leslie Nielsen. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Watch Blazing Saddles though. Watch Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
I'm literally going to go back and rewatch this whole part of the stream to be able to just write down every suggestion. And you guys gonna watch about we're gonna talk about the Mandalorian, so I'm gonna hop out because I hate the Mandalorian. I hate Grogu, so I'm going to rage on that.
So do I.
By myself. I'm gonna rage by myself about Grogu.
Thanks for tuning in. We love you. Be sure to subscribe to the Angry Mexa channel because he's
Bye, Mexa.
Bye.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to make a video because it's been a long time since I last made a video. It's been a couple of rough months, but I'm getting way better. I'm doing better now, and I am happy, and you'll see that in my next video. So
cool.
See you guys. Love you so much. Have fun talking about Grogu, and take care. See you next week.
Bye, Mexa.
Abbott and Costello. That's a good one, Mark.
Abbott and Costello.
I actually like. There was a little while where I was in like a group that would go to like old folks' homes in our area, and I ended up doing a Who's on First, and that was just so much fun. We were just doing a bunch of like just kind of like a USO style show, and I was in Abbott and Costello doing Who's on First. It was so good. Love it.
Yeah, one of the best ones
for sure.
So Mando, I actually really liked this episode.
This was
like, it was
my least for me. Every single episode gets worse and worse. I literally fell asleep during episode 3.
I get that it's more boring.
It is so boring. And remember how, not talking about the main plot of episode 3, but going back to episode 2 and all of the speculating that we were doing. Oh, was he just retarded and did he trip, or was he dragged down? It's confirmed. He's just retarded and didn't look down and fell, which makes no sense because she was like going in and out and turning, looking left and right. He would have just gone straight down.
In no way did it make episode 2 any better. But if you were to ignore episode 2, which I would love to do for the most part,
I hate this
this
show.
was just such a good, because it started out like, okay, cool, we're out, and we know that she saw a mythosaur down there, and she's trying to figure out what that means, and then they leave. Cool, they're leaving. First of all, I love Bo-Katan's ship, and it's so cool.
Yes.
It has a cool design.
I love it.
Yeah,
And then that dog fight.
The only redeeming quality of this episode is the fight scene.
That fight was so cool, and
they had
so
a cool
good.
space fight, and it was okay.
But that was like the first 10 minutes of the show. That's it.
Yeah.
And then
But then, but that's the thing. Then you get over to the doctor, and the thing that first of all, I found it really.
Let's finish up their storyline.
Right.
So let's skip to the end of the episode, and then we'll talk about the doctor. So
Okay,
at the end of the
that's fine.
episode, they go to Mandalore, and she's a Mandalorian now too because she technically got baptized.
That was a little silly, but-
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that was the hit.
That's okay. I'm still totally fine with that. He's now bringing her in to say like, hey, let's get together with other Mandalorians and realize, hey, Mandalore is safe for us to go back to and start doing stuff with. Like it is actually kicking off what this season was promising to be about going to Mandalore, retaking Mandalore, uniting the Mandalorian different disparate clans and everything. A little silly the whole like, well, technically you haven't removed your helmet since you bathed in the waters. Okay, that's a little silly, but fine. Because it's just like
I would like
getting
what I would find interesting is if they sit down and actually have a theological discussion on why that's important.
And you're saying that
because I think it's retarded. It's really stupid.
talk?
So I want them to justify their stupidity. Okay,
You want them to sit
it would
down and
actually be
talk?
interesting if she's like, "Why does this matter so? Why does this matter to you so much when we really should just band together?" And acknowledge our differences, right? Like
that kind of thing is why I found this episode so interesting, because first of all, there's some major parallels with these people who have left the Empire being kind of brought back into society and figuring out how to do that, to ways that we worked with old Nazi scientists after World War II.
Re-education camps.
A little bit of that. There's a little bit of like, oh, maybe, but they didn't fully vilify the actual New Republic. They said, yeah, they become a bureaucracy, and there's kind of a problem here. It's not great, but like the other people pointed out, it's not the Empire. They're not evil. They're not trying to do bad things. They may be a little bit kind of odd or bureaucratic or kind of willing to toss things out just because it was the Empire. But it's interesting, and the dynamic with him and her. Like, I knew she was going bad the entire time, so it wasn't a surprise. But like,
the last time you see her,
she did such a good
last
job.
time you see her, she literally gets a mission from.
Yeah, and they even remind you.
Guy,
of that
he says, "I'm going to send you to do a thing in secret." Obviously,
that's totally fine. That's the thing. Even though it wasn't like groundbreaking, she played it so well, and the way that she built it in, and the way that she works in with him, and he's figuring this whole thing out where he does have these issues, and then she kind of, it was just so well done.
The reveal
I really loved it.
made no sense though. Like, they show up, oh, we're gonna arrest you because you stole some stuff, and then she takes the stuff that he stole
she bribed him.
and then
She took him off and
leaves.
bribed him. Yeah.
So
it was a little bit odd. I'm still curious how it all happened,
Yeah.
but I'm totally fine with it. It was fine. She probably bribed them. She told them, hey, we're gonna be here. And get him in trouble, and here's some money so that I can walk off with whatever else.
But then why wouldn't she also get in trouble?
Because she's the one that bribed them. So they're pretending they only
them.
found him.
I think it runs deeper than that. I don't think she bribed anyone. I think she was charged with rooting out whether people were fully converted to the new empire.
Then why does she get to keep the spoils?
But yeah,
I don't know what
agree,
what does she want?
Yeah.
You would think that she would want his brain so he can continue the cloning, and that's the most infuriating part about this. Before we get into any of these details, and you cannot deny the entire purpose of this episode and the entire purpose of these shows has now become justifying the line, somehow Palpatine returned. That is where all of this is leading, and I hate it.
Yeah,
I
I
hate
can
it
definitely see that.
so much.
I agree with you there. I don't like that part. It's also leading up to Ahsoka and all of the other Dave
Which I'm
Filoni
excited
verse,
for.
you know,
And-
which
and-
is fine, but it is a little bit frustrating. I thought that segment was a little bit clunky, but I thought it was well enough done. I didn't like the first 2 episodes. They're the first episodes of Mandalorian that I did not like,
Yeah,
and I
I'm
think
with you.
this episode is back on par with my least favorite episodes from 1 and 2, from seasons 1 and
from
2.
previous
I don't
ones,
think
yeah.
it's great. I think it's okay.
Yeah. See, I really like this, and maybe it's because I hated
it's
the
so-
first two episodes
It's
so
at
much
least
more.
as good as the worst episodes.
That's what I'm saying. But I didn't
But he's loved
I
all the
didn't
previous
dislike
episodes.
any of the previous seasons of
Yeah,
Mandalorian.
because we
I know you
established
didn't like
have
them.
bad taste. We know this already. You
So,
can't
but no,
deny
one-
that
and-
some
and I
of
will
the
also
the
say,
episodes
too-
in 1 and 2 are not horrible.
I liked every single episode
Same.
from
I've liked all the
first
episodes
series.
up until
I
the first
admit
2
that
seasons.
some of them
two
are better than
episodes a season.
others, but I enjoyed every single episode of the first 2
Yep.
seasons.
I didn't like this episode at all.
And the other thing is too, and this plays in with the idea that it was slower, which I get, like it kind of compounded poorly, but there's also the fact that all of these episodes until now, even in the first 2 seasons, have been so short. Sometimes
Yeah,
it's been
this
enough.
was the
but a lot
longest
of times,
one.
yes,
Yeah.
but
It
I
was an
love that.
hour long.
I know.
It was so
I
bad.
loved it. I was so happy that we got to live more in this world and see Coruscant. I loved it.
I
And it
did
was-
like seeing Coruscant.
I
it was
didn't
actual-
like. I thought seeing it looked bad. The CGI was bad.
No,
All of the
No.
scenes
don't
in
know about
Coruscant,
that.
I was like,
Crazy.
and you could tell that they're
The-
overusing the volume. You can see that the actors are restricted, and it's the space
I thought
isn't
it was
actually
really
as
good.
big
You
as
saw
it
that
should
in
be.
That scene
Obi-Wan,
where they're
but not this one.
going through, walking through the district, and they touch the mount, the highest peak
Where
of
they
the.
don't
That
What was the
that
point
all
of
really
that?
good.
What
The
was
only
the point?
thing-
Oh, he got to touch a rock. He
No,
didn't.
it's
He
cool.
didn't
This-
touch the rock.
This whole planet is a city, bro. And they said they
Let's-
built
let's-
higher than the
let's
tallest
spend
mountain.
10
That's cool.
minutes talking about glowing popsicles.
That was the one thing that I didn't like. Those
I
little
loved it.
popsicles looked
Ha ha ha!
weird.
Your
and
popsicle's
she-
filled. I'll get
the-
you another popsicle.
But the actress
'Cause
there.
I'm sorry, you didn't get to touch. You didn't get to get your rocks off.
I think the actress there, it really showed. I don't know. I don't really like her acting in this episode, and I think
I
that
loved it.
one
It was
scene
all
where
beautiful.
they're trying to eat the popsicles. It was so it
That
was so
was
apparent that
probably
she
the
was
weakest,
not
yeah.
really eating a popsicle. The other dude was doing perfectly fine, and she was just like, "Oh," I'm like, "What the hell are you doing?" That's like,
I'll tell you, I don't know if you, it's weird eating a popsicle. It really looks weird, but I agree that was probably the worst CGI was them eating the popsicles. But that's one thing.
yeah, that was the only part that I thought looked bad. Everything else, Coruscant looked amazing. I didn't like the whole segment. I thought it took way too long. We were focusing on Pershing rather than Mando. But I loved everything that they were doing with Mandalorian and Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and here's the
forgetting
thing.
the second episode.
I
of
love
course,
the
but-
world building of this. And it just like to me, it was just so interesting to see the way that this dynamic was being played and being able to get back to this idea that when we were getting Grogu in the first place was because Pershing wanted to use him for further stuff. And I'll even give you the point of like this is all leading to the somehow Palpatine returned. But as much as I wish that never happened, I agree with you. I wish that never happened that way. I would rather them come up with some kind of sensible explanation rather than continue to
Yes.
ignore it because
No,
the
just
reality
ignore
is
it.
the
Just
reality
ignore
is Alan.
You
no,
can't
the reality is
it's
it is
canon.
a part of canon. You can't.
They're
ignore it.
hijacking the only thing good they had going for them to
And
justify the
here's-
crappy stuff.
Here's the other thing, though, is you look at you guys like the prequels. It's because we're the right age to have liked the prequels. But in reality, if you compare it to the original trilogy, the original trilogy is older and maybe slower paced. But the new stuff, it looks shinier, but the story and the acting in it is so much worse. But what they did in like Clone Wars is they retroactively found ways to make it better. They made it so that like Anakin's progression to the dark side made more sense than it does in the actual movies. There's things that they did by using these TV shows to make the movies better
that
has made them
that's
more
where
enjoyable
that's where
now.
you
And
lose
so
me.
by
I don't
doing
like
this in the Mandalorian,
I don't like those TV shows, man.
well, then that's because you're crazy.
I don't
Yeah.
like Dave Filoni.
Well, it's because you're crazy.
Okay.
I loved it, and I
I've
love the fact
tried.
that it was an
I've
actual
tried
like
real hard to get into the Clone Wars. I can't do
The-
it. I've
the
I've
Clone
got
Wars,
it
if you
3 seasons
starting-
in. I
that's where it
lasted
starts to get
3
good.
seasons.
Not until season 3. Ignore the
That-
first 2
I'm-
seasons,
and
honestly, and I get
I'm
that.
sorry. That's
That's fine.
retarded.
That is
If
totally
I
fair.
have to watch 3 seasons for it to get
Bro,
good,
I
I do not
understand
doubt- I
you
do not disagree with you.
100%.
Yeah.
I think Clone Wars went on way too long.
Mm.
There are some really, really good episodes of Clone Wars, but there's a lot of episodes that
And
are like,
most of
what
them
the
start
crap is
season
this?
3 or season 4. The first
And
2
it's
seasons is
frustrating,
not
yeah.
good, and that is totally fair to say I shouldn't have to sit through 2 seasons of a crap to get to the good stuff. But to be totally honest, the good stuff is beyond there. So it sucks that it's that way, and it shouldn't be that way. But the good stuff is seasons 3, 4, 5, 6, more seasons 5, 6, 7 are really good. Rebels is really, really good. And again, Mandalorian does so much more to like.
I haven't watched
having
Rebels.
that fill in. You know,
I can't
it's
stand
so
the
good.
animation style in the Rebels. Like it
I
makes me
hated
wanna-
it too, but just
The-
start watching it and you'll get
the
used
No,
to it.
only-
It's
the
really
only
good.
part of
I'm
it
not
that I
going to.
dislike.
I
is
didn't
the
like it
thin
either.
lightsaber blades, but other
Yeah.
than that, like I didn't mind the. I actually don't like the animation style for Clone Wars.
I've
Like
I've
I
seen
don't like.
enough.
Yeah,
I've
I like
seen
the
some scenes
Rebels
I don't
animation
like.
style so much more than Clone Wars. Like Clone Wars,
Okay.
Jar Jar Binks, like he's dumb enough as it is, but he looks real dumb in Clone Wars, and I just did not like the Clone Wars animation style really. But
I agree.
Rebels is
I
much
didn't
better.
I didn't like either style when I first started watching them, but the story is
They grow
really,
on
really
you,
good.
yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna. I don't feel like I've gotten this part out, even though you've gotten this idea.
Eat the bugs.
Um,
You'll get used to it. It's okay.
But
They don't taste
the
so bad
fact
after the first 3 seasons.
You know,
even though
it's
this
like-
episode
it's
was
like
so
watching
much
the-
longer. Go
it's
ahead. Sorry, go
it's
ahead.
like watching a foreign film that's dubbed, right? You have to read the subtitles. It's not something that's comfortable. You just have to get used to it, and then once you get into it, you're like, "Hey, it's actually not bad. The story itself is good."
That is so bigoted of you to presume that I don't enjoy reading subtitles. Guess what? I have no problem with subtitles. I watched all of Dark. Okay,
That's my point. But it takes some getting used to. The first time you watch a show in a different language and you have to just read the subtitles, it's a little bit off-putting. But if you stick through it, it's good. You have to get used to it.
It's not worth my time.
That's your opinion, man.
There's too much bad stuff, and even in where it gets good, there's still a lot of filler.
Yeah,
There's only half of the episodes that are still good.
You get 4, 5, and 6.
I can't do it. Okay,
You're missing out. Then you're missing out. You're lost.
That's fine, and it's not my fault. It's Star Wars' fault. It's their fault. They lost me.
I just want to make this last point that I was trying to make earlier about the length of this episode of being long. I get that for a lot of people who found it boring, it compounded the fact that it was boring and it was long and boring. But to me, this is how long these episodes should be. Like Andor, the episodes were longer and it felt more appropriate to like, hey, we're going to actually be able to take the time to tell the story rather than having to rush through and just be like, oh, and we're done. Oh, and we're done.
I
Like,
totally agree.
cutting.
If the story was good,
Yeah,
And
that's
it
not
was,
the
it was
issue.
beautiful.
Here,
It was amazing. It was a great story. You guys are crazy.
No,
It was an amazing
it was
story.
it was so here's the problem. We're watching a show called The Mandalorian, and we get a long episode.
and it's about
where literally all
popsicles.
we get 15 minutes of The
I
Mandalorian.
agree.
What is wrong with that?
Because it's setting up the world. It's such great world building. It's like,
No,
like,
the way that they
I've
set
had-
up the world was horrible. I didn't want to follow this scientist on his date and then have him be killed or tortured in the end. Like that's not Mandalorian. That's not why I'm watching The Mandalorian. I'm watching The Mandalorian because it's
a part of the whole thing.
Mandalorian.
It's a part of the whole bit, and it was just I loved it.
No,
I
see,
was so happy.
So here's the thing: the Mandalorian is going to go. He went to the Mandalore, right? And then he went back to his buddies. And then what's going to happen next? They're probably going to go back to Mandalore. Why didn't we see more of that? We should have seen more of that.
And it's not the problem with episode 3. It's all 3 of these episodes. Din Djarin hasn't even been in them.
He's been in. He was in the first 90%
all
of them.
Episode 2, and he wasn't in this episode. And it's Bo-Katan who's the hero. Like
he was
he's
in
not
at
even
least half of
his own
episode 2
show.
and all of episode 1. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but episode 1 was just him going around talking to people, and
there's a good chance too that like because I was so frustrated with the first 2 episodes and the like just nonsensical writing for it. Yeah, sure, Mando's in those 2 episodes more, but just the nonsensical writing of those episodes and the fact that we got to get IG-11. No, wait, we're just going to ignore that and get R5, and we're just going to. Oh, it was just so frustrating and stupid.
I'm supposed to be grateful that they stopped beating me for a second.
No, that they actually had a good, well-written story. It was such a great, well-written story. Even though it wasn't the Mandalorian, it was Dr. Pershing in this episode, this one episode.
Here's the thing. I wouldn't.
What was the best episode of the Book of Boba Fett? The ones that didn't have freaking Boba Fett in them.
Look, I would argue that it wasn't even a great story. Literally, I saw the thing coming from the first time you see her talking.
It's not a surprise.
So he's giving a presentation. She walks in. I'm like, oh, okay. She's going to betray him. Like, I knew what was going to happen.
Before they even showed her face, it was like, you see her walk in from behind. Oh, so this is like there's stingers. It's like, oh, this is a sinister character.
Just because 65 had a very like obvious like, oh, we know these are exactly what the plot points are going to be, doesn't mean it's not enjoyable. Like it was, you enjoyed 65 even though it had a very like standard plot, and oh hey, this is the way it's going to go. I knew exactly what's going to happen. A couple of interesting twists and turns, but overall it's the same exactly what I expected.
I didn't know exactly what was going to happen in 65.
But it's still not a new story. It was just concise and well put together. And the same thing with this one. This was a well put together and presented story, and it was beautiful.
He tried to pretend that it was a twist at the end.
Oh, and here's another thing. Okay, so literally, okay, so how does this make sense? She is there watching him getting this thing done to his brain, right? First off, they have a dial that can go up higher, even though they're 211 levels, right? So really, they should have a dial that only goes to the low levels. But then they're like, oh yeah, we'll just leave her in here with this dial.
It's a little crazy, but it's the sort of thing where she has positioned herself like the whole idea of like she gave the tip off because she has positioned herself to be like, oh, see, I'm this golden, perfect, child or whatever that has been rehabilitated, and
that makes no sense because she was working for Moff Gideon longer than the other guy.
Yeah,
he gets dismissed in like the beginning of season 2. He gets reincorporated, right?
I don't know. We haven't spent much time with him. We see him just
after that.
A little
the fact
bit.
That he's newer to the program than she is doesn't make sense.
Well, it took him longer to get out of it. I don't know. I'm still totally willing to buy all of that and roll with all of that because again, these kinds of mistakes or like odd, like, oh, how did that happen? How did that happen? Happen in everything, but it was just such a well presented. I loved it. I don't know. I was so happy to love an episode because I was so frustrated with these first 2 episodes that the third one was actually good. And again, it justified its length. It felt like a full story, not like a quick but that's all. That's all we're gonna get.
But that's because of the time length, right? So if they just would have devoted an hour to the Mandalorian story, you could have felt satisfied with that as well. But they didn't.
I'm just saying that's another aspect of what I loved about this episode, even though I realized that that being a part of this episode didn't make it any better for you guys. In general, having an episode that was long enough to fulfill that time was really nice and refreshing. So that's just one more thing that I liked about the episode, in spite of the fact that it was a part that you guys did it was a story that you guys didn't like. It was at least enough of it,
So where's the season going? Is it just him? All of the Mandalorians are going to reclaim Mandalore now?
I think so.
And-
And
Yes.
honestly, like, this was
I
one of
think-
the first episodes where I didn't mind not feeling like, where the heck are you going with this? Because it felt like it just felt so much better as a, like, hey, we're setting some things up here. See where we go with this, as opposed
Yeah.
to the first two episodes. They're like, hey, you know how we were telling you that we're going to go to Mandalore? Well,
Let's
maybe
get
we're gonna do
all
that,
of
but we're
that
gonna do
out
a
of the
side-
way as
oh,
fast as
but
physically possible.
No, what we're going to do is we're going to spend an episode pretending like we have to say, oh, wait, we can't get there too soon because that's going to be the end of the season. We have to get a whole season getting there. So we're going to set up some side quests that he's going to start to go on. And then in episode 2, we're not even going to side quest it. We're just going to show up there. Like, it was ridiculous. Whereas this one, you're like, oh, interesting. We're setting up this character and he's getting kind of messed with this. And it's other ideas of they're trying to use him to get the right supplies. And okay, interesting. They're setting something up that we'll get to eventually.
Okay.
It was so much more enjoyable. I don't know.
Here's another question for you then, Bearded. What if they had to cramp this story in the first 2 episodes just so that they could tell this 30-minute story in this episode? That wouldn't make a lot of sense either. And maybe,
It could be. I don't know. It does. It's one of the things that where, like, to your point a little bit with that, I'm still worried because of the way that the first 2 episodes were set up and done, that I don't know where the rest of the season is going to go in terms of, like, okay, they were really bungling that thing. Did they bungle that to just get this one? And like, what were they doing with it? So I'm still a little trepidatious about, like, how this is going to go moving forward in terms of they've done a really bad job with those first 2 and the story that they seem like they're setting up and trying to tell. But just, it was so refreshing to watch this and be like, I was engaged this whole time. I was enjoying it. I was like, again, even though I saw the twist coming, they left just enough of a question in there, especially when she's having him run away in the Star Destroyer and they see the lights and everything going.
Yeah,
I'm
like, what
ooh,
was it all? The
interesting.
pageantry. What was it all for? It just
I
if
don't
she
know, but
paid
it
them
was,
off, none of it makes sense.
it might
think-
have been
well,
just
she-
for our sake, and while that can be problematic to be like, that doesn't make sense in the story because it's just for us for that twist, it still worked just enough for me to be like, I think she's gonna mess with them, but what's going on here?
I do not
know?
think there's an actual answer here. I think
There
we're
may not
giving
be.
them way too much benefit of the doubt. I think, I don't see an answer because just any answer that is there just doesn't make sense. I think it's just bad storytelling, and we are jumping through hoops to justify it.
I honestly, like, in a lot of ways, I kind of wish they'd started the season. They couldn't have done this because it is the Mandalorian, and you can't. It's tough as it is to have a whole show, episode dedicated to not the Mandalorian. I get a little bit of a complaint with that, even though I thought it worked for me. You can't start out the season with that, but I wish we'd started this and then you have an opportunity. I don't know, just that whole thing with him going to Navarro just to see Grief Karga so he can show up and we can play around with the nostalgia of IG-11, and then we shoot off and we're like, oh, we're just going to use R5 instead because of nostalgia. And
I seriously doubt. I
really
seriously
didn't like
doubt that any of the people involved have any idea what they're doing, and that's the reason why we're so confused, is because they don't have the answers either.
It's possible,
But
although
I think
that
the
if
reason
anything,
for
it's
that is
more
because of
Kathleen.
studio interference. I think
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
that
Jon
may-
Favreau and
that
Dave Filoni
may-
had
and
an
that-
idea of what they wanted to do.
And that very
Kathleen Kennedy
that
screwed
very
it up.
well may be the case, but it doesn't change the fact that none of this makes sense or is
Yeah.
good.
This episode made sense. Made great sense to me. It was great.
It
Loved
was
this
it was
episode.
all right.
Legitimately
Everything
did.
with Dr. Pershing
Oh.
was all right. It was a little bit convoluted and muddy at the end, especially her intentions and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're going with that.
It's-
Obviously, they're
it's up
trying to
in the
connect
air,
it
but
to
I'm-
Palpatine.
Yeah.
But everything that they've done with Mando, what little he was in this episode,
Mm-hmm.
I really like. I really like the power struggle that they're setting up between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan. They both want to rule Mandalore. Well, I mean, Din Djarin doesn't want to rule Mandalore,
yeah.
right? But he's got the Darksaber, and Bo-Katan's struggling with that. But then she's got this secret knowledge that there's the Mythosaur there, and there's 2 different symbols for the Mandalorian culture: the Darksaber and the Mythosaur. I think that's fascinating what they're setting up. I wish they'd done it without Grogu, and I don't know.
I don't
It's
think we
just-
needed to have Grogu there at all.
yeah,
I agree.
exactly.
It's funny. Mex is talking about how much he hates Grogu. I don't hate Grogu. I just wish that the story didn't have to lean on him as much as they're
Exactly.
trying to.
100%.
I agree
I'm
with you there.
literally falling asleep just having to talk about the episode I fell asleep during.
Here, fine. You leave, Alan, and we'll just keep talking. No,
All right, okay.
I'll just monologue. No, I've said all that I need to say on it, so we can be done. Oh man, I loved it. I can't even. I can't. I am floored by how much I loved it, especially after how much I didn't like the first 2 episodes. So
yeah, I see what you're saying, Jared. I'm a little bit more middle of the road. I didn't love it. It was better than the previous 2 episodes, but
by far. So,
but like I said, everything that they're doing with the Mandalorian, that's the kind of stuff. That's what I expected from this season. Is struggling with what does it mean to be a Mandalore. You know, all that stuff. Is he coming back or?
I don't know, but that's the thing. I get your point, David. So like, I mean, and that's the thing that I wanted more of an explanation for, right? But that's what I'm saying is that like we should have spent more time on this episode explaining stuff like that rather than going back to this scientist where I'm like, who
I agree.
Is this person even like in relation to the Mandalorian story? Like it just doesn't
not.
make any sense.
It has nothing to do with the Mandalorian story, and that's the, like maybe
has to do with Grogu,
and that's the thing. If you're going to invest this
Palpatine.
is the same problem I had with The Last of Us episode 3. If you're going to invest this amount of time in this kind of side story, it needs to be relevant to the main story. It needs to eventually tie in, and this is it's not. It has nothing to do with what's going on. It's setting up the crossovers where we're gonna have to fight they're gonna fight the Snoke clone.
Yeah.
That is a fair criticism. I get that. I think because I'm such a Star Wars, like I want to know how all of the universe fits together and what they're doing, how they're trying to fix this somehow Palpatine returns stupidity. You know, I'm interested in that. So
that's the thing. And for the same reason, I'm out. Like I'm such a Star Wars fan. I can't bear to see what they've done. Look what I've done to my boy.
I just think too about the fact that like there were literally people saying the exact same thing.
A really bad Marlon Brando. But go on.
That's the thing. There are so many people that said that same thing about the prequels, and yet here we are, people who grew up on the prequels and love the prequels and have enjoyed what the prequels did bring us. That to me, I can't let myself get to that because I'm like, you know what? Hey,
look what they've done to my boy.
There we go. Much better.
They've massacred my child. My boy.
So I don't know. I'm loving it, but
that was much better.
I get it. I get that it may not have been the greatest episode of The Mandalorian for that large chunk in the middle.
I will make you a
But I love that
Mandalorian.
episode.
You cannot refuse.
And I will also say, talking more about The Mandalorian itself, the parts that did have him and Bo-Katan, that reiterating that her ship is the coolest ship, like one of the coolest ships, and the move that she pulled to spin around, very much a reference. To me, I caught Firefly references with that little like the thing where they spin the one. I don't remember what they call it in Firefly, but somebody else was telling me that they thought that was a Battlestar Galactica reference with her being Starbuck in the new version. Which that was really cool. Like TIE interceptors are the coolest of the the TIE fighters. Hers is like probably one of my top 5 coolest, or at least those Mandalorian starfighters are among the top 5 favorite ships in Star Wars for me. That N1 is also up there in the top 5. So like this episode worked for me.
I hope
all levels.
that their first baby Yoda be a masculine baby Yoda.
Anyway, you can move on. I'm just saying the same thing over and over again.
That's it. I'm gonna spend my time watching things that I like. I'm gonna go watch Zack Snyder's Justice League again because that's a good time. That's a good movie. I have found some semi-interesting sitcoms. The Fox's Animal Control.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's It's pretty good. We're 5 episodes deep. It's no Parks and Rec, but it's not bad. Like it's quite entertaining. And
It's got the guy from Community, right?
What?
Yeah,
Got the guy
it's
from
got
Community.
Joe McHale from
Yeah, Joe
Community,
McHale.
and
I think that's
the
really
chick
the only
from
like big name.
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Wait,
the boss lady.
not the main girl.
No, not the Australian girl. The boss lady.
I watched
She's
like
from,
3 episodes of that show. I don't remember.
Dang.
Yeah,
It's
it's
on
fun.
Hulu. I don't have my Hulu anymore.
Yeah, it's a good time. I'm also retroactively it's been canceled, but I'm retroactively watching AP Bio
Right.
with
Oh, that one's pretty fun. The guy that like the teacher that doesn't give a crap about his job, basically, right?
Yeah. It's got the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
On a side note,
Glenn Howerton.
On a side note, you know what other show just got canceled?
Yes, Willow
is
Willow's
not getting
canceled.
season 2.
Shocker. Yeah.
You know, and again, I think that most of you guys, well, I don't know, I think maybe it was just Max that didn't agree with me, that I liked Willow better than I liked Rings of Power. So I hope that also ends up going to Rings of Power, but I don't think it will.
No. Rings of Power made more money.
And I
got more views than Willow.
Cost a freaking ton more money.
Yeah,
but, you know,
it was a spectacle of a show.
What I am super excited for is the Blackberry movie. It stars Glenn Howerton, but the writer and director is Matthew Johnson, who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest directors of all time. And you've probably never seen one of his films, but Matt Johnson is a legend. This man is brilliant. Wheel of Time updates. There are none. There's literally no news. They keep posting memes on their Twitter account saying, "Oh, happy International Women's Day. These are the women that we put in our show." Matt Johnson is fantastic. The best way to describe him is a guerrilla director, like guerrilla warfare, but with directing. He has no money, and he makes his movies by any means necessary. His first real film is called The Dirties, and it is incredible. It's a movie. It's a dark comedy about school shootings. Okay, and how he made this movie while he was, like I think a freshman in college, is he applied to high school, pretended to be a high school student, so that he could use their film equipment and film in the high school as his school project. He got all of most of the people are students who signed releases to act in his school project movie that turned out to be a real movie.
Wow.
It is very funny. There's lots of language in it, but it is a very clever movie, and it's a really good critique on the subject matter. It's pretty heavy to watch. His second movie, Operation Avalanche. It's about 2 FBI members who fake the moon landing. Guess how he filmed this movie with no money? He contacted NASA and said, "Hi, I would like to make a documentary about the moon landing, and I would like to interview you guys at the NASA station." And they said, "Sure, that's awesome." When he showed up, he said, "I think it would be cool if we all wear period appropriate clothing while we're doing these interviews." And then while he was interviewing these people, he was doing it in character for his character in the film Operation Avalanche. It is insane. It is one of the most entertaining movies I have ever seen in my entire life. It's funny and it's dark and sad and emotional and wonderful. Now, to put the cherry on top of that, they had a comedy show called Nirvana the Band the Show. It ran 2 seasons. It's really funny. The premise is it's 2 deadbeats who want to start a band, and every episode is a new scheme to get famous quick. It's a get rich scheme. Every episode is a new idea to land them a show at the Rivia. That's where they want to perform. And they'll do anything other than write music to do so. One of the episodes, their scheme is, hey, let's get famous by getting a movie to Sundance, because that gets people famous. And then we'll be able to get a show at the Rivia. So he used his film premiere of Operation Avalanche to film an episode of his TV show. They sent Operation Avalanche to Sundance, and then in their press interviews did them in character for their TV show, used that real footage at Sundance, and then in the TV show like inserted a fake movie that's also called Operation Avalanche, and it's horrible, and so everyone makes fun of them. This man is brilliant, and now he has money, and I cannot wait to see what that looks like. And he has Glenn Howerton in a movie called Blackberry that's about the invention of the BlackBerry. I am so excited for this movie.
Nice. You got Carrie Ellis in there.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah, Carrie Ellis.
Cool.
Rich Summer. That's a big name. Yeah, no, like I've seen what this man has done with pennies. And I'm so excited to see what he does with money.
Michael Ironside. Wow.
Yeah,
everyone should watch
some of these movies.
Everyone should watch Operation Avalanche, and Nirvana the Band the Show is also very entertaining. The Dirties, I love it. It's not for everyone. But that's that's what you should watch instead of The Mandalorian Season 3.
Well, I'm going to keep watching it.
Never give up, never surrender.
The funny part is that Glenn Howerton had to be balding for the movie. And so he had to shave the top of his head and have like the rim around the edge. And they've talked about it in their It's Always Sunny podcast about how long he had to look. Just he hated it so much, and so they shaved when he was finally done with the movie. They shaved it on the podcast and just went totally bald. It's like, I can't take it anymore.
Well, it's also got Jay Baruchel, the guy who's How to Train Your Dragon.
But isn't that the craziest thing you've ever heard of? Like Mark John.
That is wild.
The way this guy knows how to get things done.
Yeah.
And it's very entertaining.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Operation Avalanche is really good.
And it's the 100% the Blackberry film so far from the because it was shown at the Berlin International Film Festival, showing 12 reviews, and it's still got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, no, his dialogue
average of 7.8.
The way he writes dialogue is also very, very good.
Yeah.
I don't know when it comes out, but that's it.
May 12th, according to the internets.
That's it.
Right after graduation. Woo!
Are you graduating?
Yeah, man.
Nice.
You'll be a real architect, boy.
Yep. We're getting closer.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in. It's been a blast. We'll see you guys next week. All we'll have to talk about is the Mandalorian. Oh, I forgot to so it was a 50-50 split on whether or not we should watch Sam.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard it's actually pretty good. I'm not going to force anyone to watch it. I'll go watch it on Tuesday because it's cheap. Because it's the discount day. I'm not in a rush. I didn't see it this weekend. But I guess we'll just talk about The Mandalorian next week and whatever books I've read.
All right. Might have a short
desperately need
stream for once.
Better things to watch.
We keep saying that, and they keep getting longer.
Anyway, well, and
I know, right?
We'll also take a quick break. I don't think we'll do a show for Easter Sunday.
Okay.
Right.
We'll take a break on the 2nd, right? Is it the 2nd?
No, it's the 8th.
That's the 8th. the 9th.
9th. Yes, the 9th.
Okay, so that's in 3 weeks. Well, maybe we'll have some Wheel of Time season 2 announcements by then. I'm done.
Yep.
Jared, have you caught up too? Have you read 2 and 3?
No, I probably should. I'm listening.
I know you started listening to 2.
Well, I have them on my Audible, but I'm listening to Speaker of the Dead right now. So
oh yeah, why didn't you say anything, you dummy?
I did, but it got glossed over.
Oh,
okay, it's all right.
It's all right. It's. What do you think? It's good, right?
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's definitely
different.
interesting because it's like talking about this whole. It's like, okay, we have this new alien species. Like, what are we gonna do with them? Because they keep killing people, but like, what does this mean? So anyway.
Oh, when you're like, oh gosh, that's.
Well, yeah, and it's like gruesome. They're like, oh yeah,
brutal.
they like flay them, and you're like, oh shoot.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good thing.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been interesting to kind of been like, okay, like where is this going? Why are they doing this? Is it something that they need to be worried about? And how does the Speaker of the Dead come in and solve the issue, or how does anyway? So it's been interesting. Yeah.
I love it. It's a great book.
It's good. I think I'm about halfway through, so I've got another half of it. But then I'll probably try to get started on that. I still need to do the Lost Metal as well, but
that one's good. That one's fun. That is just fun. It's just a good time.
The problem is though, it's been so long since I've listened to the other ones that I'm like, I don't even remember how to.
You don't need a
it.
refresher, really.
Yeah, you don't really need a refresher of the other Mistborns.
All you need to do is just remember that the third book that they encountered that new race of people who fly boats, and that he found the bands of mourning. That's really all you need to know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I got to start that, but yeah, I'll probably get started on the Wheel of Time again too, because if it is going to be here anytime soon, I probably need it.
Yep.
Because they're big books.
Yeah, I'm going through book 2 of the Wheel of Time right now, but my I don't have as much time to listen to audiobooks right now, so it's a little bit slower.
Yep.
Anywho,
I should have Children of the Mind read by then.
I'm gonna hopefully be cracking into Ender's Game and Speaker for the Dead by next week. We'll see.
Anyway, well, we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys next week. On the flip side, that's all that we have for you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all of your viewership, and there's a lot of fun. But we'll call it there, everybody. And I desperately do not want to keep watching The Mandalorian, so I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't know what we're gonna do. But there's nothing else on TV right now. What?
Mark Clark says
like 3 more episodes?
Just skip ahead to The Mandalorian. Night. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Dog.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
Right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day.
But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.